And a very good afternoon to you, and welcome here to UPMC Nolan Park in Kilkenny for what promises to be a busy day of action in Camogie. Of course, it is the league semi-finals and we have all that to come for you, and we'll be looking ahead to that in about a half an hour's time. But if you're joining us now, well, you're hoping to catch up on what promises to be an entertaining summer of championship action, because we're live here in Nolan Park for the championship draw. And joining me to look ahead to all of that action and to take a few names out of a bowl is, of course, the president of the Camogie Association, Hilda Breslin. Hilda, good afternoon to you. Gorgeous sunny day. Hopefully it's fitting for our championship ahead.
Yeah, gorgeous day here, Killian, in Nolan Park once again. So we're really looking forward to the championship draw and a summer of Camogie. So we will start.
Let's get underway. So the senior championship has 12 teams. There are 3 groups of 4, and basically what we're going to do first is, because there's 4 seeded teams, which is Kilkenny, Galway, Cork and Tip, we're going to draw the group that 2 of those seeds will go into. So I'm going to ask Hilda to go to the bowl, and whichever group name comes out is the group that will have the 2 seeds.
So group 3 will have 2 seeds.
So group 3 will have 2 seeds, okay? So group 3 will have the 2 seeds, and just verifying
so
everything else.
Draw the first seed out, and this will go into group 1. And that is Tipperary.
So Tipperary will be in group 1.
In group 2.
And don't forget, group 2 now has those 2, or group 3 is the 2 seeds, so group 2.
We'll have Cork.
Cork.
So in group 3.
Group 3 then, just to verify that.
Will be Galway.
Galway.
And the second seed in group 3.
Should be
Kilkenny.
Kilkenny, okay, so there you have it. So group 3 has the 2 seeded teams of Galway and Kilkenny. Tipperary top the group 1, and Cork then group 2.
So the second team into group 1 will be Wexford.
Wexford going quite well in Division 2 at the moment.
Yeah, unlucky to lose out yesterday in the league semi-final against Down. So the second team in group 2 will be Waterford. And the third team in group 3 will be Westmeath. So the
tough group for Westmeath there.
Tough group. The third team in group 1 will be Limerick.
We'll give you a full detail of all these groups once the draw is completed.
The third team in group 2 will be Dublin. And the fourth team in group 3, which will close off the group, and that's going to be Clare. So that group is complete.
Group 3 complete then, so we complete groups 1 and 2.
The last team in group 1 will be Offaly. And the last team in group 2 will be new to the senior championship, Down.
So Down getting in there in group 2. So we'll just give you that full lowdown again, just to let you know then. So those 3 groups of 4 will be have been drawn, and that's the All-Ireland Senior Championship. Gets underway with round 1 on the 17th of July, and confirmation then as well that the All-Ireland Senior Final will take place on Sunday the 12th of September. So just, I might get one of our aides here to give me the full draw there again, if someone was able to give me the full listing, and I'll be able to give it a shout back out again. Thanks, Sarah. So it is as follows, and it's gone up on social media so you can verify it as well. The All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship draw then, Group 1 sees Tipperary, Wexford, Limerick and Offaly. So that could be a right tasty group there. Of course, Tipperary here today in the All-Ireland League semi-final, and going along quite well. They're the seed in that group, but Wexford haven't played quite well in Division 2, although, as Hilda mentioned, did lose out yesterday. Limerick and Offaly on a bit of a rejuvenation, it would seem. So Group 1 could be tasty with Tipperary topping it. So Group 2 then will see Cork. They're the seed in that group. They will take on their Munster rivals Waterford. And also in Group 2, Dublin. Are they rejuvenating? Well, we'll see under Adrian O'Sullivan. And Down, in the fine form that they are in, of course, qualifying for that Division 2 final yesterday. They are in that group with Cork, Waterford and Dublin. And then Group 3 has the 2 seeds, Galway and Kilkenny, and they have been joined in the group by Westmeath and Clare. So tough enough maybe group there in group 3 for Westmeath and Clare, but we'll see how that pans out. In fact, some interesting groups there, Hilda, before we move on to intermediate.
Some good groups, in fairness. We'll see Down for the first time in the senior championship, which is a nice group for them, I think, to get them into the senior championship. Tough enough, the last group, Kilkenny, Galway. I'm not sure who you'd want to be in that group with, in fairness. But I think the senior championship always throws up surprises, so I'll be expecting a few surprises come quarterfinals in them.
Yeah, well, we'll see all that again. Confirmation that the draw it gets underway round 1 on the 17th of July, and then the final to be played on the 12th of September. Let's move to the intermediate championship then. And of course we have 3 seeded teams here, Antrim, Laois and Meath, 12 teams as well, 3 groups of 4. So let's see who is going to come out where.
So the first seed in Group 1.
So Group 1, first seed out,
is going to be Meath.
Meath.
In Group 2.
Losing out yesterday, but they will...
Unlucky, yesterday. Is Antrim.
Antrim then will top Group 2. Antrim, of course, defeated Meath.
And Group 3 will be headed by Laois.
Laois then will take on Group 3.
So the second team in Group 1.
So joining Meath
is going to be Dublin.
All Leinster clash.
The second team in Group 2
alongside
is
Antrim.
going to be Kildare.
Kildare on a bit of a rejuvenation themselves.
The second team in Group 3
along
is
with
going
Laois
to be Kerry.
Will be Kerry. So an interesting clash last year down in the rag between those two. So
Very
they get
tight.
to renew acquaintances.
The third team in Group 1 is going to be Galway.
Galway into Group 1 there.
The third team in Group 2 will be Kilkenny.
Kenny going into that Antrim group.
And the third team in Group 3 will be Derry.
And Derry.
The fourth team to close off Group 1 will be Carlow. Group 2 will have Cork. And the final team to be pulled out going into Group 3 is going to be Tipperary.
Okay, so that's the All-Ireland Intermediate Championship then. As you heard, all those teams with Antrim, Laois and Meath topping those respective groups. And Sarah will verify all those again for me going up on social media in the next few minutes anyway. The All-Ireland Intermediate Championship Group 1 will be Meath, Dublin, Galway and Carlow. So a bit of a Leinster feel to that, and Galway thrown in. Group 2 will see Antrim take on Kildare, Kilkenny and Cork. A tough group there for Kildare, as he said, in their bit of run of form up against the second teams there of Kilkenny and Cork, and also Antrim in such a fine vein of form also. And then Group 3, where it could get interesting, it's Laois, Kerry, Derry and Tipperary. So thanks again, Sarah. Those games are due to get underway the 24th of July, 25th of July that weekend, and the final again to take place on the 12th of September. And the final draw then is the Premier Junior Championship. 10 teams here, Hilda. 2 groups of 3, 1 group of 4, and we have seeded Armagh, Cavan and Roscommon.
Okay, so the first seed is going to be Armagh.
So Armagh out with Group 1.
And in Group 2 is going to be Roscommon.
They will be the seed in Group 2.
So the third seed is going to go into Group 3.
It's Group 3, yeah.
And that is going to be Cavan, who did very well last year to come up.
Absolutely. Great to see them back.
And they're in a league final.
And in the league final, of course, as well.
So
yeah, all going well for them.
Second team in Group 1 is going to be Waterford.
So Waterford head into that group with Armagh.
The second team in Group 2 is going to be Clare. The second team in Group 3 is going to be Antrim. The third team in Group 1 will be Wexford. The third team in Group 2 will be Kildare. The third team in Group 3 is going to be down, and the extra team is going into group. So we're just going to draw which team the extra team goes into.
So we've the one left there then to make a group of 4.
So one group will have 4 teams.
Yeah, just to keep it right. So Armagh, Cavan and Roscommon as our season. We'll confirm the draw again. This championship due to get underway on the weekend of the 24th of July with, again,
so the
I
last
hope I would
team,
imagine with everything take place on the 12th of September.
12th of September, so we're going to have back hopefully a triple header in Croke Park. Difficult year last year. We just had the senior final in December in Croke Park, and we had wonderful intermediate and Premier Junior, but we only had one team in Croke Park. So this year we're going to be back with all our teams back in Croke Park for a triple header. So the last team, Limerick, and they're going to go into the group,
yeah,
which is group 3.
so group 3 becomes the 4-team group. Okay, so we'll confirm all that now in 1 second. So 2 groups of 3, 1 group of 4, and it is the All-Ireland Premier Junior Championship. Thanks again, Sarah. Group 1 then is Armagh, Waterford and Wexford, so a little bit of travelling for some of those in that. Group 2 will be Roscommon, Clare and Kildare, and then in group 3 this could be a right little group now. Cavan under fine vein of form, Antrim, Down and Limerick all into that group. So again, all those going up on social media as we speak, and again those games in the Premier Junior Championship all to get underway on the weekend of the 24th of July with the hope, I imagine, and everything going well on the health front and so forth, that triple header of action again being confirmed to take place in Croke Park on the 12th of September. Hilda, a few pucks of a ball happening here behind us. Looking forward to the semi-finals, are you?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good day today. We're going to have Kilkenny and Tipperary in the first match, and it's a difficult one to call because Kilkenny are on the rise. There's been nothing through them. I've seen them in a couple of games in the round stages, and they've been very, very strong. Kilkenny, home advantage here, sitting in Nolan Park, will lift their game. So it's going to be a tight match. And in the second match, we've got Galway and Cork. And hard to call either of the games here, but I think whoever gets through will have a brilliant league final next Sunday night at 7:30 in Croke Park. So we'll be the first team to take the pitch in Croke Park after a long year. So it's going to be great. So we're inviting all to come, get your tickets, and we'll see you in Croke Park next Sunday at 7:30.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear a crowd in Croke Park as well next weekend. Hilda Breslin, thanks indeed for joining us here this afternoon then in UPMC in Nolan Park for the championship draws. I'm going to just get Elaine to come in around camera there, and we might get her just to give her viewpoint on the draws there, because we've shook up the draws a little bit. Elaine, I'll get you out from behind the table a little bit. What do you make of that?
Yeah, a couple of really interesting draws there, especially in the senior. I think Group 1 could be really, really interesting. You have Tip, Wexford, Limerick and Offaly in it, and Tip obviously the seeded team in that here in the league semi-final today, but a couple of the chasing pack there in Wexford, Limerick and Offaly probably feel that they themselves could be close enough to that 4th team along with the top 3 as we're always talking about. So I think that could be a really interesting one. And Group 2, I suppose you have Waterford and Dublin both drawn in that, and they're due to play a relegation final from the league now shortly as well, so a little bit of pre-championship feeling out of one another there maybe. So, and look, the third group then you have both Kilkenny and Galway in it, last year's All-Ireland finalists, along with Westmeath and Clare. So obviously Galway and Kilkenny you would imagine should be favourite there, but look, who's to count against someone like Clare maybe coming up with a surprise on any given day.
But it's like, I know obviously with the 2 seeds in one group, it just has a little bit of a different vibe to it. Probably the likes of Down and Wexford, and we know that they're in a good vein of form at the moment. Probably shake up those groups a little bit, that you could see a shock somewhere. Yeah,
absolutely. Down are in a group with Cork, Waterford and Dublin, and I don't think Down will have any fear of any of those teams. They're going really, really well, and coming up from last year, anxious to make an impact. I think that's a group that they could really rattle, and look to see them maybe in the knockout stages of championship.
Yeah, so those are the views of Elaine Aylward then on the senior draw. All those draws then available on the Camogie Association social media channels at the moment. And again, we will play out that draw later on during our broadcast. But if you're tuned in for Camogie, there's plenty of it to come. Don't go too far away. We are live on air in about 15 minutes time for the first of today's league semi-finals. You see them warming up in the background. It's Kilkenny against Tip. Promises to be a cracker. Stay tuned. And a very good afternoon to you, and welcome again to UPMC Nolan Park in Kilkenny for what promises to be a cracking afternoon of league semi-finals. Of course, it is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League's Division 1 semi-finals, and the first one up at 1 o'clock is, of course, between near neighbours Kilkenny and Tipperary. My name is Killian Whelan, and for the next couple of hours bringing you the best of the action. And don't forget, if you want to hang around for more Camogie action, at 5 o'clock Cork take on Galway. You've already, if you've been with us earlier, saw the championship draw, some of those quite interesting ties, and we'll tease out those throughout the afternoon. But we're going to focus on Tipperary and Kilkenny. It is, of course, two of the top four, as lots of people like to make out. So these semi-finals this afternoon should really tell where these sides are ahead of the championship. Joining me throughout the afternoon, as she has done all the leagues so far, is Elaine Aylward. Elaine, sure, you should be welcoming us nearly at this point. We're home on home territory for you.
Certainly, come to Kilkenny and I'll provide the weather. What a day in Nolan Park, and as always the pitch is just in fantastic condition. Even walking across it there, maybe apart from the heat, you'd fancy a bit of a run out on it yourself today. But two cracking games, I'm sure, and no better place to play them here in Nolan Park. Yeah,
it is, and I think I stood in the middle of the park. I was just telling you there a couple of minutes ago, 23 degrees. So that, you know, the water breaks today. We might talk about how to disrupt things, but I think they'll be very important for both teams today too.
Yeah, I think so. Look, it's the hottest day of the year. It's going to be the hottest day of the league so far, I think. And as you said, look, even the water breaks today will be welcome, I suppose. But the real preparation will have to have been done in the week coming up to the game. You'll be taking water on board today, but I think you'll just be sweating it out because it is very hot, very humid around the middle of the field there.
Looking at it with regards to Tipperary, and I'm going to throw it straight to you off the cuff here with regards to them, that, you know, we've seen them an awful lot in the last couple of weeks, but are we overstating maybe where Tipperary actually are? Because when you go back to that first game against Cork, they got a little bit of a lesson that day, although the last quarter would have been quite strong. And then maybe you have to look at who have they beaten since.
Yeah, I don't think Tip are in any great position compared to where they are most other years. They're in the final four. They've been there for league and championship the last couple of years. I think this is the next big step Tip need to make. They need to get to a national final, and look, this is a national final that's going to be played in Croke Park next weekend, so I think they really need to get to it, beat a Kilkenny, as we said, a Cork or a Galway, get to a national final, and then we'll know maybe more about where Tipperary are at. But I do think they have improved as the league has gone on. Probably went down to Cork a little bit naive, a little bit into the unknown, and speaking to Bill afterwards, even, you know, he mentioned he thought they were going really, really well in training and felt they were, and it wasn't until they got to Cork and realised that, you know, maybe they were a little bit off the pace. But, you know, as you said, they probably had their toughest test that first day, probably had easy enough victories over Waterford and Offaly then the last day, so they suppose they won't know themselves really how much they really have improved from that Cork game until the ball is thrown in here today. But look, that's where they need to be, that's where they want to be, and I think it's a huge game for Tipperary. I think they really need to get the win here today to push them on to that next level and break that ceiling from being a top four team to maybe being a top 1 or 2 team.
And for Kilkenny then, with Brian Dowling, you know, a group that have, I suppose, shown in spits and starts this year how good they are, but they have been capable, as we saw against Limerick the last day, they've been capable of switching off on the odd occasion. That I'm sure that's something he has seriously worked on since that game.
Yeah, I think the Limerick performance last weekend will have given hope to a lot of the other teams in the championship. You know, that Kilkenny were by no means invincible, and that if you bring the hard work rate and you can match them with hurling, that you're certainly able to go toe to toe with them. So credit Limerick for that, but I suppose also credit Kilkenny, because when it didn't look likely for long periods of that game, like true champions did, they found a way. They got the goals that mattered, they got the scores, and, you know, I suppose it will be a little bit worrying for Brian maybe that, as you said, their form has been a bit up, a bit down. You know, not great against Dublin the first day, you put it down to maybe the first day back, looked really, really impressive against Offaly on the second day, and then, as you said, sputtered and started at different times last weekend, looked really, really good at times, and then played second fiddle to Limerick for a lot of it. So again, for Kilkenny today, it's a huge game, I suppose, to lay down a marker for the rest of the league now and for going forward into championship. You know, the testing out of the panels and stuff is nearly done. You're looking at championship coming quick and fast down the line, and if you're beaten here today, that's it, and you don't find out really where you are until you come into championship. And Kilkenny are looking at a group now that they face good foes and old neighbours Galway, and so, you know, they'll want to know where they're at today. So another huge game, I think, for Brian and for Kilkenny today.
Yeah, because we're probably looking at the senior championship confirmed to start on the on the weekend of the 17th, 18th of July. So we're probably 5 weeks out from that. I would imagine if you're Bill or Brian, you want to be staying in the league for another week at least to be getting high quality games.
Yeah, competitive games are so hard to come by, like on any given year maybe, but especially in a COVID year, in the year that we've had, you know, there's not a huge amount of them. Another competitive game next weekend against Galway or Cork, you know, would be massive for these teams. Plus it's a national final, you know, and it's in Croke Park. I'm sure a lot of the Tip players probably haven't been to Croke Park. Kilkenny were obviously there last year for the All-Ireland and stuff, but a lot of that Tip panel won't have been in Croke Park, so it's a massive occasion. It is a national final, as you said, said, it's another competitive game. It's a week less of training. It's a week of focus maybe for a game next weekend, rather than going back to focus on a championship that's a couple of weeks out still.
Okay, well, the views of Elaine Aylward, we'll hear from her throughout the game, and of course throughout the afternoon. Don't forget, we are here for a double header. Galway and Cork throws in at 5 o'clock, so if you don't get the appetite whetted enough for this game, don't forget there's more to come throughout the afternoon. But we're going to take a break for the moment. We'll be heading back up to the gantry here at Nolan Park, bringing you the best of the action. It all throws in at 1 o'clock. Referees for today's game is Galway's John McDonough. Rejoin myself and Elaine shortly.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings, and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
You want the new personal best? Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.
And you're welcome back to UPMC Nolan Park, live from the gantry here above Nolan Park. And this is a fantastic view, one of the best views around. When you're up this high, you get to be able to see all angles of the pitch here, Elaine.
Yeah, it's a super view, super way to watch the match, I suppose. But I suppose the people on the far side of the field won't be too worried about the view today. They're in the match for the first time in maybe 12 or 18 months. So great to see some of the crowds back at matches, and looking forward to a big crowd in Croke Park next weekend for the final.
Our camera's on Tipperary, so let's have a look at the Tipperary team, which shows one change to the team that's on our schedule listing there. So it's coming in the half-forward line, where Karen Kennedy, back from her wisdom tooth extraction, is back in the setup today for Niamh Tracy. But it will line out in goal then with the all-star goalkeeper Anya Slattery of Shannon Rovers, Julianne Burke of Borrisalee, Mary Ryan, also an all-star last year, Moneygall, and Emer Lockman of Clonoulty Rossmore, Aoife McGrath of Drummond Inch, Mairead Eviston of Thurles Sarsfields, and Sarah Friday of Clonoulty Rossmore. At centre field, Arena Friday and Roisin Howard. Emer McGrath of Drummond Inch and Nicole Walsh will wear 11, and Karen Kennedy, of course, all-star from last year as well, will wear the number 24 shirt. And the full forward line, Grace O'Brien, Cot Devan and Clodagh McIntyre, as we pause for a moment's silence here. So the strains of our own Naveen then finishing up. As you can see, Brian Dowling giving the last words of wisdom to his team, that will see Emma Kavanagh line out in goal, Michelle Teen, Colette Dormer and Miriam Bambrick the full back line. The half backs of Kellyanne Doyle, Megan Farrell, the captain of Thomastown, and Davina Tobin, of course, an all-star from last year, representing the Emeralds. At centre field, it's Niamh Delia, James Stevens, and an all-star from last year as well, Grace Walsh. Another all-star, two of them in fact, are in the half-forward line, Denise Gall and Miriam Walsh, and in the centre is Mary O'Connell, on a good run of form for her against Offaly and Limerick. Michaela Keneally then moves from the wing into the corner. Katie Nolan, after her fine form against Offaly and Limerick, is in at full forward, and Aoife Doyle continues her rich vein of form. She's got a goal in every game so far. Well, she's wearing the number 15 shirt. Elaine, I'm off the fence now. Who's going to win this?
Yeah, look, as you go through the teams there, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a few positional changes all over the field with a couple of the names there and a couple of the players introduced, like Karen Kennedy from Tipperary. But look, I think it's a massive game for both teams. I think Tip really need the win. Kilkenny probably need to bounce back from last weekend, and it'll be a good test to Brian Down to see what kind of form his team are in, maybe mentally after that. You know, sometimes coming off the back of being All-Ireland champions, it can be tiring, but I just think maybe Kilkenny's experience to see them through.
So referee John McDonough has thrown the ball in, and the game is on, and eventually it's Tipperary. You get a bit of a flick out here, and getting in to try and disrupt matters there was Arena Friday, but it's Kilkenny that are getting on the burst straight away, and it's a good bit of play there by the Kilkenny midfield. And Colette Dormer was the one that came out there involved in action straight away. She's been moved around there, the pitch I just see.
I think that was actually Kellyanne Doyle. I think Colette Dormer is not lined out as far as I can see. Davina Tobin has gone back to full back. Michelle Teen on one side. Miriam Bambrick looks to be picking up Grace O'Brien maybe.
As Denise Gall then has this early free. puts it over the bar, and it's just exactly what Kilkenny need to set the nerves here. And you're in the opening seconds, you win a free on your home pitch, put it over.
Yeah, and it sets up Denise nicely for the day, and maybe just starts to ask a couple of questions to Tipperary straight away from the off, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond.
So Kellyanne went in for that throw in there and was eventually fouled, despite the fact that Arena Friday was putting her body in and sheltering things quite well, along with Roisin Howard. And here's the aforementioned Howard then looking to get inside the attentions of the Kilkenny players. Opportunities over on the far side. Made a crew out of for Grace O'Brien, of course, got 2-4 the last day. But it looks like Miriam Bambrick was the one that got a bit of a flick, but it's Tip anyway that have turned it over. With the wind on their back, coming from the city end over towards Claudia McIntyre. She lost track of that ball there. And Michelle Tehan urged to go hard on it there. James Stevens lady. Eventually, the ball is kicked along the ground there. Forced along by Katie Nolan, who was back helping out the defence. But eventually going to play it along. Niamh Deely right down in front of us here, try to get it to Denise Gall. They come out off Gall with the pressure from Karen Kennedy. Karen back from, as we said, a wisdom tooth extraction. Missed the last day against Offaly. Apparently had played through the pain up to that. But missed the game against Offaly, back here today and replaces Niamh Tracy. So a point to no score in the opening stages. That came after a point from Denise Gall after Kellyanne Doyle was fouled. Ball towards Cot Devan, but she's pushed away from it by Davina Tobin. Wearing 7 on her back, but I think she'll be around Cot Devan for most of the day, I'd imagine, Elaine.
Yeah, it looks like she's picked her up inside, and Lydia Fitzpatrick has actually come into the Kilkenny team at midfield, which has allowed Kellyanne Doyle, I think, to drop back to the half-back line.
So Grace O'Brien trying to get that shot off. Oh. Late change then on the Kilkenny setup. I know that down in Burr, Kellett Dormer had a problem with her hamstring, so maybe that's come back to haunt her a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure she's even togged out here today in within the subs bench. But look, as I said, Kilkenny really not playing with a full panel on any given day so far. You know, Claire Phelan obviously still out from injury. Katie Perry looking to come back from injury. So, you know, missing a couple of key players, but a chance for other players to put their hands up maybe and lay a claim to a jersey.
Yeah, a bit of a clash there as we were talking off the ball, and just taking no chances here at the moment. Both girls seemingly okay, but it's Michelle Tehan, who's put herself about there early doors, taking no prisoners.
Yeah, a real lively cornerback, loves to play from in front, and you know has been called on a couple of occasions already today in that Kilkenny full back line. So, you know, good start from Tipperary. We just haven't troubled that scoreboard just yet.
Just looking as well, when we get a wide shot up at the far end here, Elaine, rather than take it off to the players there at the moment, is receiving a bit of treatment. Just looking at the way Kilkenny are setting up here, 2 in the inside line and practically in a straight line.
Yeah, Marion Welch and Kellyanne Doyle inside in that full forward line. Michaela Keneally obviously named to start in there, but I'd be surprised if Michaela plays much of the game in a corner forward. She's probably better known as a wing forward or out in the half forward line. And Katie Nolan, a really, really busy player as well, named at full forward, but obviously won't play there. You'd imagine that Marion Welch would probably play on the edge of the square, and then Aoife Doyle using her speed in the space that's inside there if Kilkenny continue with the 4 in the half forward line.
So Lydia Fitzpatrick, playing in the middle, what do we expect out of her then?
Yeah, Lydia is a very experienced player, has been in around Kilkenny intermediate and senior teams for a good number of years, and as I said, a really experienced player, tough, hard, physical player around the middle of the field, and maybe exactly what's needed to break up that tip midfield. Arena Friday and Roisin Howard had a really good hour there last weekend, and played really, really well and looked to be forming a real formidable partnership there. So Lydia obviously in to try and break that up today.
Yeah, it's getting on the ball here straight away. Arena Friday. Arena, quite a strong game in the games that we've witnessed her. 3 points against Cork. She got a point against Offaly, but was really tearing into that game at all levels. And has won a free here that Cot Devan will come out and take. She's right down below us here. And Shane on camera just getting the angle. It'll be a good angle now to watch from where it's from. So she's about 58 metres out. She's just in off the sideline, as you can see there. Great shot for whoever's on the camera right behind her. And that's a good shot from Cot Devan. Drops just over the bar. She had the measure and the accuracy.
Yeah, super strike from Cot, as we know, an excellent free taker. I thought that one might just have been a little bit outside her distance, but did really, really well to guide it and just drop it over the crossbar. one that Emma Kavanagh had to watch all the way.
Point apiece. Niamh Deely getting the ball forward now, looking for a little bit of movement out of the Kilkenny forwards. As we know, a little bit of position switches and changes, and one of them tigerishly trying to get in there along with Mary O'Connell is Katie Nolan. But in there as well, being quite tigerish, is Roisin Howard. But the referee says, hold on there now, girls. Let's get reset there, and we get going again. Ball is thrown in, and it's Karen Kennedy. So important to this team. Here goes Sarah Friday then. Believe I saw her reported in some of the press saying that the last time she played wing back was in a boys final back in 2008. She didn't do herself any harm against Offaly the last day.
No, she lost none of that form from whenever that boys game was. She certainly carried it through. I thought she was outstanding last week at wing back for Tip, and as I said, laid down a marker and got herself back in there this week.
Of course, player of the match she was for us last week, and she's in there trying to win that ball alongside Michaela Keneally. And here's Keneally on the ball, flicking it inside to O'Connell. Got 2 goals, or got 1 goal I should say, was involved in another one last weekend. Got 6 points against Offaly, giving it off here to Katie Nolan, who kicked the goal against Offaly, and that's a fine score from Katie Nolan on the 45 metre line. Tip player down injured. That's a good score.
Yeah, lovely, well worked scores. Came really, really well through the hands. Mary O'Connell looked to be about to take the shot herself and got the call maybe, or saw the run from Katie Nolan, and she found herself in lots of space. And Katie, as I said, a really hard working forward, probably more notable for her hard work than her scoring on occasion, but did really well to score that one from distance and just push Kilkenny ahead again.
About 23 degrees it was in the middle of the park about 20 minutes ago here in Nolan Park, UPMC Nolan Park that is. And well, I'd say with the sun out now, it's a little bit hotter. It's supposed to be the hottest day of the year. Hopefully wherever you are watching this game, you're enjoying the sunshine also. And if you're out and about, maybe you're watching on YouTube, on the Camogie Association YouTube channel, or you're also checking us out on the Littlewoods GA Twitter account. And don't forget, this final of the Littlewoods Ireland National Camogie League Division 1 is due to take place in Crow Park next Sunday evening as one of these crowd test events. 3,000 people. Tickets are on sale currently. You can get them on the Camogie Association website. And will it be Kilkenny or will it be Tip that will be there for what promises to be a unique occasion in its own way?
Yeah, I think it's great to be back in Crow Park again. It's great to be back at final stages when we have crowds there especially, but to be back in Crow Park is massive for the league final, and it's a huge reward, I think, and a huge incentive for all the 4 teams in today's semi-finals.
So ball breaks and it's over on the far side, and it's Lydia Fitzpatrick that knocks it down the line. Just to confirm again then that Colette Ormer doesn't line out for Kilkenny here today, and Lydia is in. Lydia, of course, from the St. Lachlan's club. And also one change on the Tipperary side. Karen Kennedy back into the setup. Of course, last year's All-Star, replacing Niamh Tracy. And Karen, I'd imagine, going to spend an awful lot of time around the centre-back position as she currently is. Get a shot of her maybe in a minute then when we see Cottevan over on the far side. Just at the old dressing room entrance is where Tipper lining out, tugging out today. As this ball sends towards the new seated stand, I suppose you call it, here in UPMC Nolan Park, and it's a fine score from Cottevan, and she's got it from similar enough angles on either side of the field, Elaine.
Yeah, similar enough, probably a little bit closer maybe in distance wise, but she had plenty to spare on that one. But again, another tight angle, and I just hear Brian Dowling underneath us there encouraging Kilkenny to make Tip work for their free. So afraid that the last 2, I suppose, were a little bit easily given away, and prefer to see Kilkenny maybe making Tip work a little bit harder.
Tried to be too clever there maybe, Lydia, in knocking that ball back, and eventually it was, I don't think it came into play. That was the reason. So it's going to be a scenario now that the linesman will throw the ball in. Yeah, nice to see a little bit of a crowd here as well today, and everyone taking advantage of the sunshine.
Absolutely, yeah, great day for, as I said, for crowds to get back to games, and how lucky we've been the weather that on the first day that you come back that it is the warmest day of the year. So, really exciting times, and hopefully long may it last for Camogie and hurling. So
it was Denise Gall getting on that ball. You can't miss the Wingate player as ball though has been turned over, and Nicole Walsh now playing it into the corner. Devan was looking for it, but it's been picked up and cleared by the Kilkenny defence. Michaela Keneally trying to get in there. Miriam Walsh there as well, looking to charge forward, popping the ball inside. O'Connell maybe trying to get inside Karen Kennedy, but what a snaffle there from Karen Kennedy. Was to show you why she is the all-star. O'Connell though getting another opportunity at it, but back there to help out. Looks like it was a foul committed, and Kilkenny thought they had a gap there. It just goes to show you Karen Kennedy, the ability she had, came from behind, a nice little hook.
Yeah, that was such an important little flick out of Karen Kennedy. They had the overlap. Marion Welsh was in possession and Mary O'Connell had slipped inside. The hand pass went perfectly to Mary O'Connell, hopped maybe a little bit slow just to give Karen Kennedy the chance to get back, but a really, really important touch away from Karen Kennedy to knock the ball out of Mary O'Connell's possession and tip then with the free.
Davina Tobin knocking it away there from the Tipperary forwards, and eventually it's cleared and over here for Aoife Doyle. It's full of running. Aoife Doyle getting away from Mull Ryan, still going. Aoife Doyle shortens the grip. What a score from Aoife Doyle, probably one of the scores of the league, you'd have to say. Crossfield ball, she backed herself against Mull Ryan, took off over the bar.
Yeah, and it came the whole way from that ball that Davina Tobin knocked down in her own own full back line, dropped it to Grace Welch with a super crossfield ball, hopped lovely in front of Aoife Doyle with oceans of space in front of her once she got in front of Mary Ryan then, and I suppose it's no surprise that maybe Kilkenny have looked to put in Aoife Ryan or Aoife Doyle, one of the fastest players there, in on Mary Ryan and maybe try and expose her out around the field.
The other end of the field is a fast player as well in Clodagh McIntyre. Michelle Teen is winning that battle at the moment, is trying to cut outside and clear that ball is Grace Walsh, has the sleeves rolled up, might be that kind of day as well. Expose the top of the arms a little bit as Mull Ryan plays a dinky little ball across field towards Nicole Walsh. She steps inside the attention of Lydia Fitzpatrick. Oceans of space for Roisin Howard, who of course played in a relegation game with Tipperary lady footballers yesterday. Unfortunately lost out there, is looking to come forward and play this ball on, but the ball is being cut out there and it's Steely looking to play it forward here now. Katie Nolan full of purposeful running so far, has Aoife McGrath for company, looking to step back inside her. The shove from Walsh, oh lovely flick from Walsh, didn't just get enough purpose on it, but it's picked up by Deely. Deely being urged to give it back from Megan Farrell, but it's been turned around and won and driven on here now by Sarah Friday. Acres of space, look at the space in front of an opportunity here for Howard. There could be an overlap here, but it's a well taken play. Michelle Teen is having a brilliant game so far.
Absolutely, she's playing from in front, as I said, a real fast tight corner back, but really well read there and snuffed out any danger of a tip attack. Bill Malani and his charges would be a little bit disappointed, I suppose, if they didn't get something bigger from that.
Mary Ryan, lovely turn, and Aoife Doyle cutting off the space, knocking the ball up along the wing was Mary Ryan, and ball is gone out over the line. It's going to be a sideline cut here for Kilkenny that Denise Gall is about to take. And imagine, as we mentioned to you, water breaks are going to be very, very important, I think, in today's heat, and we're due to have one shortly, but sideline cut to come for Kilkenny, and a good bit of play there by Aoife Doyle. Lovely cut from Gall across the field to the far side. Miriam Walsh now on her bike, going to try and get out of the head there of Emer Lockman, looking to step inside, but Walsh has loads of time to pick it up, send it high, but it's going to hook a little bit out to the right. Time for Anya Slattery to be able to look around and play this ball nonchalantly out over the head of Katie Nolan. It was a little bit of pressure there on Mairead Evanston, but she gets the ball out here to Mary Ryan and she knocks it down along the left wing, looking for McIntyre. Got a lovely goal against Waterford, we remember, looking to step inside, plays a nice little dinky ball to Howard. Lovely floated ball in to Devan. Devan rolls off of Tobin, but reading it very, very well there is Emma Kavanagh. She plays it out here to Tobin, and Tobin looking to step outside, has to come inside though. The hairdresser based here in Kilkenny City, playing the ball out, loose ball though, looking to step back. It's Howard to Devan. It looked like it was fouled, said John McDonough. Is he allowing to score? Yeah, I think he's telling him put it up. Yeah, he had called it, but he's allowing that score, I think, to go over the bar, is it?
Yeah.
Umpires didn't wave the flag, but I think he said put it up. Yeah, he's telling him to wave it. Yeah, just to be sure. Yeah. So that is a score, and a good score from a tip point of view. It's a draw game here again.
Yeah, Kilkenny had to be really alert there. Emma Cavendish on the Kilkenny goal. Caught Devan, showed all her experiences was to let that ball, realise that ball was going to beat herself and Davina Tobin, and rolled off it and just ran a little bit too far, but credit Emma Cavendish, got out quick off the line.
That ball is flighted in, but it's dropped into the hands of Anya Slattery. Anya got a little bit of criticism, I would imagine, against Cork the first day, but she's covered herself well here in the first two passages of play for her, as this ball is delivered in by Irina Friday. Crossfield ball. Tip starting to get a little bit of glory now. Out here is Devan out in front of Tobin. Turns and puts it over the bar. 2 on the bounce for Tip. They're in front.
Yeah, an excellent work score right from the back and from Anya Slattery, and real confident, assured play from Anya back there. Happy to play the ball out short, and when it did, popped up and over and found caught Devan in a whole load of space, and she did really, really well to put it over from there.
So referee, I think, has called the water break. I think we need a little bit of a water break too, so just give us 30 seconds and we will just take a breather here. But at the first water break, it is Tip. We're on a little bit of a bounce. They've got 2 on the hop. They lead by 4 points to 3.
Our game's about style. We forge our own path forward. Because our style is substance.
Whichever's on camera there. So as you can see, Kilkenny girls getting underwater. John McDonough urging to come on, but I think today might be a day you might just let them have an extra minute possibly.
We might all rob an extra 30 seconds on the water break today. I don't think you could fault anyone for it. There's been questions or whatever during COVID and certainly during some of the colder days, but on today I think is the day you give anyone an extra 30 seconds for a drop of water.
Kilkenny girls and Tip girls out now, ready to go again. 4 points at 3. Tip starting to find a little bit of space.
Yeah, and it had been the opposite for a lot of that first half. It was Kilkenny with all the space up in their full forward line and looked to be able to exploit it. But Tip in the last couple of plays there now have been able to find gaps in that Kilkenny defence. And I see on the last occasion, Caughtavan did really, really well to peel away from Davina Tobin and found herself in a load of space before she threw over that final score.
So, about to get going here again. Puck out coming then from Emma Kavanagh. Dropping down on Roisin Howard, gets a flick on it and is picked up by Walsh. Then it down towards Devan again, and she's Davina came out and committed to that. Devan just again allowed her to roll off her. Ball could go inside. Devan elects to go for the score. It'll be some score if it goes over. Gone to the right and wide. I'm just thinking Grace O'Brien might have been thinking of a ball there.
Yeah, she probably, if Cod had looked up, Grace O'Brien had lost. Megan Farrell had just lost her footing around the 21 there, and Grace O'Brien had found herself in a lot of space. You would have put your house on it for Cod to get an accurate ball across her, and certainly was half goal chance for Tipperary.
Good taken by Denise Galden, playing the ball inside here towards Katie Nolan now. Nolan out in front of Lockman. One touch, looks and it sends it towards the city end here. It's gone to the right and wide. Would have been some score too.
Yeah, and a great catch, great take from Denise Gall straight from the pocket and hopped lovely in front of Katie Nolan, and encouraged from the Kilkenny sideline now on future occasions to go around her. But I suppose Katie with the point already in the first half opted to go for the score and just drifted to the right and wide.
So Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 semi-final between near neighbours and bitter rivals Kilkenny and Tipperary, and it's a right encounter so far. Hashtag style of play. Well, there's been some style on show here this afternoon on the style of play action, and there'll be plenty of it maybe to be noted by Littlewoods during the week as Denise Gall plays the ball across field. Was expecting a little bit of run out of Aoife Doyle there, but maybe turning it back into something will be Michaela Keneally. Fairness to her, she's showing her football skills as well, but Mary Ryan comes out to be able to burst onto this and play the ball down along the wing now. Opportunity for Tip to build from the back here. They lead by 4 points to 3. Got the last two scores. Crossfield ball, but Tean is hitting the top of the ground here today. Michelle Tean having a fine game. Gives it to Gall. Long field ball now delivered down the top of Keneally. Might get the break off here. Keneally on the ground though. She just can't dig out the Hurley there to be able to get it. And again, out comes Ryan with it. Opportunity to step left and right, and eventually settles on to Hurley. Gives it to Kennedy. Kennedy steps inside her attacker and able to give it off here now to Sarah Friday. Friday taking it back into position. A lady that has come back from 2 ACL injuries. Still going forward now. Looking to step inside. Giving it into Howard. Howard looking to settle. Oh, lovely little side step of Dealey. This will be some score if it goes over the bar from Roisin Howard. That is a cracking effort from Tipperary.
Brilliant score from Tipperary, and again built from the very back from a chance possibly Kilkenny had at the other end. Worked the whole way out, and real confidence, real composure from the Tip players. No pressure, and they just worked it really, really well into the player in the better position, and Roisin Howard with a great score.
Tip having a fine vein of form now. Ball over to the far side of the field. Mary O'Connell, it's a drop from her grasp. Being tracked over there on the far side by Mairead Evanston. Ball is on the ground now. Tried to dig it out. Howard in there. She's doing an awful lot of dirty work today. Roisin Howard, you'd hardly think she's playing her second game in 24 hours. Digging it out and looking to play it out to Friday, who seems to be in acres of room. Kilkenny definitely paying her too much respect, I feel. Giving it off here now. The flowing locks of Karen Kennedy. Playing it forward now. Devan out in front of Tobin. This is a right battle so far. Devan looking to step inside. Gets a little tap on the arm, but it doesn't bother her because she's going to have a shot to the goals. Heading it to the post, but it's gone to the right and wide. We are seeing some skill out here today.
Absolutely, and I look at the pitches that definitely contributing. The ball is hopping lovely, but the touch of the players, the striking is absolutely brilliant, and there's been some really, really high fielding. But on that occasion, Caughtavan unlucky not to finish with a score, and she'll be disappointed with those 2 wides. And look, you'd hope Tip could maybe push on that they won't come to regret those wides.
Emma Kavanagh is targeting Denise Gall with a few balls. She's winning them high. She got the hurl pull from her hand at that stage, and she wins herself for free, and she'll fancy herself from her own 65 here.
Yeah, Denise, as I said, a fine striker of the ball, definitely has distance, but whether she'll look for a bit of space in the corner like they have been looking for on occasion, or whether she'll go for the score, as I said, probably capable of it.
Denise Galden, the likes to play it down along the wing here, looking for a little bit of movement here out Katie Nolan. Nolan had it in her grasp and then lost it, wins it back, looking to step inside. Here's the shout from the middle, here's a great ball inside, it might work out. Trying to get onto it was Lydia Fitzpatrick, but Mary Ryan read that, able to tap the ball out here, trying to get it to Aoife McGrath. Ball might break still, ball is inside. Evanston looking to take it under control, she does. Here's Walsh in acres of space, time to pick out a lovely diagonal ball. Devan is on the run again, Megan Farrell trying to get back there, help out Tobin. Devan lets it be under, Tobin is in there, Tobin does very well this time, and it's a right battle between those two. Farrell is back to help out. The captain from Thomastown look to play it up along the wing into a bit of space. Here comes Lydia Fitzpatrick in for Colette Dormer, looking to play it long. It's lovely one touch play from Kilkenny at the moment. Ball is long, trying to win it in there. Walsh maybe, opportunity as well, could be accruing here for Nolan if she sits off the pocket. Still in there, could be Mulrine though, looking to dig it out. Karen Kennedy still holding on to it as well. It's tipped at lead, 5 points at 3, 20 minutes gone. You can't take your eye off this. It's the Littlewoods Ireland National Camogie League Division 1 semi-final, and it is a cracker so far here in UPMC Nolan Park. On come the Premier now, looking to play it to Nicole Walsh. Walsh stepping inside her marker, looking to play it down along the wing. Still a chance here. It's the first real chance we've seen of Emer McGrath. In she gives it to Nicole Walsh, being tracked here by Grace Walsh, but the referee says there was a foul on Emer McGrath, and Emer McGrath takes a big sucking of air, and it just goes to show you we need it up here too.
Yeah, it's a really, really hotly contested game out there, and every ball has been fought for so hard. We see the last one there, and Will Kilkenny attack, and Tip did really, really well to turn it over. What's really noticeable is that when Tip turn it over, they're able to find the player outside them, they're able to get the out ball out, and you can see Kilkenny retreating. It was Megan Farrell on that occasion retreating back. They know the danger that Devan poses in that full forward line, so while they're retreating back, it's allowing Tip playing a lot of ball around the middle of the field.
So Devan then over inside the 45. She sends it with the wind behind her up and over the bar, and it's another score for Devan, and she's 5 to her name so far in this first half with 21 minutes gone. Tip that lead by 6 points to 3. Devan with 5. Roisin Howard has had 1 as well, and the scores for Kilkenny: Denise Gall, Katie Nolan and Aoife Doyle. Aoife Doyle with one of the scores of the championship, followed up by Roisin Howard. But here come Tip again, all of a sudden just finding that little bit of pep. Michelle Tehan and McIntyre having a right game, is trying to get forward, and that was Aoife McGrath. The ball lost forward though, and Bambrick looking to flick it out here. Opportunity to keep it in play and keep it moving from Tip, but it's Howard looking to offload it. Looked like she was pulled back. In fairness, John McDonough letting the game flow. Devan from distance. Devan has a mighty effort at this. It's on its way. The nod from the umpire. It's over the bar. Fine score from Devan.
Yeah, another huge score from Devan, and another really well worked one from Tip. Did so well to win back that ball. Looked like Michelle Tehan had dealt with it in Kilkenny defence, but again Devan just floated out, found herself in an acre of space as good forwards do, and able to shoot from distance.
Ball breaks now, and it might work out here. Opportunity to get forward and charge forward, and this ball is Kellyanne Doyle. Doyle looking to flick it inside. Katie Nolan, the two red helmets and the black and amber link up. Ball is out, flicked outside. Mary O'Connell lost it though, and it's Karen Kennedy is sitting in the pocket and waiting, and is able to deliver it out to Aoife McGrath, who has a shout inside, and that comes from Emer Lockman. Inside it goes again. Roisin Howard, lovely one touch stuff being played here by Tip. Ball let loose again. Ball forward to Grace O'Brien, looking to get inside. The opportunity here now of Miriam Bambrick. Ball hits the deck, and Bambrick did very, very well there. Backed herself in being able to defend that against Grace O'Toole, and in there to help out Grace Walsh. And that ball though, referee says there was a pull of the jersey, and he's blaming Grace Walsh. Is it a free in for Tip?
He's indicating a pull back or a pull of the jersey, but he's not and he's talking to Grace, but he's not indicating a free either way.
Well, he's gone in to talk. He's serious about talking to Grace Walsh anyway. He said that there was a pull back there, and it's going to be a yellow card and a free in for Tip. And you know, in a situation that Kilkenny had the numbers there, that's I don't know whether it's a silly foul or maybe is John being too technical.
Yeah, maybe he spotted something we didn't see. I was following the path of the ball down into the corner and watching the battle that was going to ensue between Grace O'Brien and Marion Bambrick. And, you know, credit to Marion Bambrick, got back really well. And as you said, backed herself, got the important flick in and had worked the ball back out. So I didn't see the free outsider, but John obviously felt that there was something that merited a yellow card, certainly. And a free in for Tip, and a chance now for Devan to stretch Tip's lead again. So
Devan with 6 to her name already. The 7 that Tipperary have got on the 20 metre line, a tight enough angle. She's pulled it though out to the left and wide, a bit of a let off there.
Yeah, a real let off for Kilkenny, and I suppose an unusual miss from Caught. It was a tight angle right on the 21, but a chance I suppose for Kilkenny and to keep themselves in the game.
Miriam Walsh dropping out under this ball, and it forms into a little bit of a scrum, and in there again Roisin Howard. She's just been a thorn in Kilkenny's side in the middle so far.
Yeah, Tip have been really dominant from their own half back line around the middle of the field, and as I said, I think it's the composure that they're coming out with the ball. They're being really composed, using all their experience and able to work the ball to the player in the better position, not afraid to hurl it around.
Right little niggle creeping into the game here. A bit of a battle going on between Mairead Evanston and Denise Gall. Not happy with the linesman on this side, and Tip are giving as much as they're getting at the moment as McIntyre plays a little flick. Devan looking to get inside now, taking it away from Tobin. All-Star against All-Star, looking to put it up on her stick. Oh, caught Devan! What a score! And Tip, there's a right fire in the belly.
There's a real battle in them, yeah, and it's developing all over the field, and you know, to put a score on the end of it after winning a ball like that really adds a bit more bite to it. And great score from Caught. Looked to take it on, was tackled and had the advantage, but backed herself to go with the score and a super point.
The thing is going to ask questions of the charges of Brian Dowling, especially at half time now. They will have the breeze behind them in the second half, and it's a significant enough breeze looking at the tricolour down here on the left hand side.
Yeah, it seems to even have picked up since we were out on the field before the match. It seems to be a little bit stronger out there at the moment, so that will be an advantage. But as I said, Tip are not, it's not huge big balls that Tip are blooming into the full forward line either. They're working it really well and playing the ball really confidently.
Ball was meant to be cleared, a typical cornerback clearance there by Emer Lockman. It mightn't work out for them though, because Gall has played it in behind now, looking for a little bit of a run here out of Michaela Keneally, but it's the tip backs are back there in number now. Mary Ryan is watching the pocket at the moment, but she's allowing Aoife McGrath to go back in there and win it, and McGrath then gives it to Mary Ryan, who happens to be in the right place at the right time always. Ball knocked to the far side, McGrath getting a touch on it. It's going to be kept in play by Bambrick, getting a shout inside from Dealey, but she elects to go further forward with it and try to get it to Grace Walsh. Friday holds her off. Break though, the Walsh is linking up, the cousins from Tullerone. Ball breaks on, it's Mary Ryan, pull back surely, it's going to be a free out. And between the likes of Mary Ryan, the likes of Roisin Howard, the Fridays, the tip backs are just playing very well at the moment.
They're playing really well, and as I keep saying, it's the confidence. They're playing with the composure they're coming out with. They're not just happy to dispossess the Kilkenny forwards. They want to get out and they want to play the ball, a good decent ball into their full forward line, and they're happy enough to play it around the middle of the field and confident enough to do that.
It wasn't a great ball from Aoife McGrath, but Nicole Walsh has turned it into a brilliant ball and splits the post for a fine score.
Yeah, I think Roisin Howard was looking back at the free taker as it was taken, wondering where she was going with that one, but it worked out really well, and Tip doing really well up front now.
Yeah, they've burst out into a lead. They were 3-2 down at one stage. They got a burst of 2 scores in 30 seconds, and that seemed to tip the curve a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, and maybe it's just a little bit of confidence boost that they needed, just to get their heads in front so that they could maybe start, believe in themselves a little bit more. But they're certainly playing with like a team full of confidence. And as I said, I felt they were improving in every game, and look, so far in the first 26 minutes of this game, they look to have improved again and pushed on from last weekend.
Gall knocking this ball in now underneath it. Keneally might break down for Katie Nolan. She caught it. Here's an opportunity. Batted. Oh, well taken away. Aoife McGrath just put the body in the way there. That was a good bit of play by Katie Nolan. Could have been batted to the back of the net there. Lydia Fitzpatrick was coming on to it there. It could have been a spectacular goal.
Yeah, probably looked like the right thing to do, and I mean, maybe in hindsight, maybe she would have been better to take the ball into her hand, but look, on that occasion the ball was coming at the right height, and if she connected, as you said, would have been a spectacular goal. But as it is, Tip survive.
Ball is played out now by the Tip defence to survive again, and it's out here to Mairead Evanston. Mairead playing the ball forward, flicks down. But Megan Farrell wins it. Nicole Walsh trying to get in there, and referee John McDonough says that Nicole Walsh was fouling. So chance for Denise Gall. It's going to be a long range effort again. I'm not sure with the breeze she's going to be able to get it that full distance. She'll be looking at Mairead, or I should say Miriam Walsh. She'll be looking at Keneally inside as well, maybe to get a knockdown. But his Gall put everything behind this. The ball is dropping into the grateful hands of Anya Slattery. And is some of this eking into the confidence of the Kilkenny girls?
Yeah, Denise probably in two minds there, probably within her distance. The last one she dropped in there, Michaela Keneally got her hand to it and did really well to control, and they had that half goal chance, so happy enough to go with it. But credit to Anya Slattery in the goal, did really well under it and got out, and as I said, got out with a good ball and allowed Tip to build from the back, which is what they've been so good at for the first 28 minutes of this game.
Bamrick looked to play that ball. She played it out of Karen Kennedy, and it's going to be a sideline cut over on the far side of the field. It is 9 points at 3, 28 and a half minutes gone. And we wait for the sideline cut over on the far side. When we get a break in play, I might get Shane to angle at the tricolour there. We'll just show you the breeze that's behind Tipperary at the moment, and it could be a factor for Kilkenny in the second half. As the sideline cut comes from Walsh up along the wing. And don't know, there you can see it there. In the next minute, it was Sarah Friday looking to step inside. Friday, though, is knocked off that ball there by Kellyanne. Kellyanne gets it back from Deely, looking to play it forward. It's an opportunity here now. Gall will smell blood. Gall is on the head down here. Gall with Evanston. Gall going for the shot. It's blocked away. Mary Ryan getting in front of it there, but the referee says he's seen a foul and he's going to give what exactly now? He's going to go in and talk to his umpires here, is he? He's asked his umpires to come across. John McDonough saw something there again.
Yeah, I think there was Aoife McGrath
maybe.
maybe.
See opportunity here on the replay. I can just see.
Yeah, a couple of hurl swings in from behind from Aoife McGrath there. I suppose aware of the danger of Gall bearing down on goal, and a couple of pulls in from behind, and John maybe just checking where the initial pull in from behind came from.
In on the right hand side or the left hand side of Denise Gall, and it's a penalty. And you'd fancy with Gall scoring one in an All-Ireland final, she'll back herself here against Anya Slattery.
Yeah, and it's really disappointing from a Tip point of view because they have been totally in control. They've outscored Kilkenny 5-0 since the water break, and had been on an attack there, but maybe just overplayed it a little bit between Sarah Friday and Nicole Walsh around the middle of the field, and gave them the chance to be dispossessed, and Kilkenny on the counter attack, and Denise Gall found herself in a load of space up front, and when she's bearing down on goal, I suppose the Tip defence were at 6s and 7s to get back to her.
So just have a break here in a minute as Denise Gall just being tended to. And again, just reiterate what this penalty was for, as Elaine was looking at it there, just the slaps that were coming in from Aoife McGrath. She was very much aware, as you said, of what Denise Gall was going to do. And here comes Gall then, as we know, scored a penalty in the All-Ireland final that ultimately sealed the deal for Kilkenny. Up she comes against Anya Slattery. Gall with the shot, low, bottom corner. You'd probably say it's scarce of what Kilkenny deserve, but now it's only a 3-point game.
Yeah, and similar to last week, Tip have played a lot of the hurling like Limerick did last week, and yet Kilkenny, being All-Ireland champions, they always find a way, and that's a real lifeline for them, because as I said, they had been outscored 5-0 since the water break, and it had been all Tipperary, and now suddenly Kilkenny find themselves a lot closer than they should maybe be.
Yeah, a lot closer than they probably should be, but the ball has been won back there. You'd have to credit Claudia McIntyre getting in, and here an opportunity. Howard is inside on the far side, trying to get the ball across here, trying to win it though, and win it back off her is Katie Nolan giving everything, but Howard is still going, and eventually referee hasn't gesticulated which way. Is he going to give a free against Roisin Howard? No, I think he's going to call back to Kilkenny player Katie Nolan. So Kilkenny crew are not happy with John McDonough. Again, I just find John there on the occasion that wasn't a clear signal as to which way it was actually going to go, but he's given Katie Nolan a yellow card, I would say. Yeah, after that talking to, and caught the van a chance maybe to settle now, Tip, after conceding that goal.
And I find it very hard to believe that Katie Nolan could get a yellow card for that, but Aoife McGrath couldn't get one for the pull that was on Denise Gall going in for the penalty. I didn't see a whole lot in the tackle from Katie Nolan there. It was tough, it was physical, but Roisin Howard was given as good as she was getting, and when the whistle blew, there was nobody here in Nolan Park knew for sure what way that free was going to go.
Strange one indeed, but if Katie Nolan unfortunately gets an early shower, it'll be down to what we think wasn't a yellow card, as the ball breaks now, still inside there in the middle of the field. As we continue to tick on, and time wise, ball is here's Howard. Howard has been a thorn in this Kilkenny side, putting the head down now. He has Walsh inside if she wants, slips at the wrong time, gets a ball in, don't know whether she threw that though, and covering back there is Mary O'Connell of all people, back helping out the defence, looking to clear this ball, but she's robbed of it. She took maybe too much out of it. Tian is in there, definitely the star of that Kilkenny backline at the moment. Ball breaks, Tian is still in there, ball is going to be picked up again. Howard is using her body, trying to win it back. Ball is won by Nicole Walsh, looking to step outside. She might have McIntyre, she has the van on the left, but she goes for McIntyre on the right, but she couldn't get it at the first time. Flicks it out here now to McGrath. McGrath winds up, Emer McGrath puts the ball up and over the bar. It took them a while, but they got it in the end.
It did take them a while, but it's a great bounce back from that Kilkenny goal. Tip with 2 points on the trot there now, and worked really, really hard for that one. And I suppose on occasion last week when they were working and the scores weren't coming off, they really did come off here today. And another great score and a great response to the Kilkenny goal.
Miriam Walsh over here, along with Kellyanne Doyle, trying to win that ball, and Miriam It was nearly like a support player in a ruck in the rugby there. Just keeping Karen Kennedy away from Kellyanne Doyle so she could get out with the ball, but the ball is broken loose and it's picked up by Emer Lockman. The Clonouty Rossmore woman giving it off here now, and it's going to be cleared down along this wing. Caught the van looking to roll away from Davina Tobin again, but the ball just wins the race to the sideline. And Grace O'Brien trying to get her esteem forward in the action. Grace probably hasn't had too many chances at goal, as we can see now on the screen, the tricolour. That might give you an idea then of the breeze that has been behind Tip in this first half. 11 points to 1-3 on the scoreboard. A wind never won you any game either though.
No, and as I said, it's not aimless long ball that they're pumping into the full forward line either. They're really composed, really measured around the middle of the field, and that's really where they've been getting the gains. And to have a player the calibre of Roisin Howard out there who's really, as you said, putting her body on the line and driving forward, but she's got support players coming off her shoulder on every occasion, and that's really the difference at the moment. Kilkenny, have created a lot of space up front, but just haven't been able to get the quality of ball maybe in as much as they would like. So, Tip definitely will be disappointed to have conceded that goal, but, still to go in ahead at half time, wind or no wind, I'm sure Billman and his team will gladly take it.
But you'd have to then be, if you're Brian Dowling and you're Tommy and you're all the guys there in the backroom team, you have to be slightly worried, because Kilkenny were in fine fettle before the water break, had hit 3 points. It wasn't, a spectacular kind of advantage or anything like that. They led Tip by 3 points to 2. Tip then just before the water break got 2 in about 70 seconds or thereabouts, went into the water break 4-3 up, and then outscore Kilkenny 7 points to a goal. And if you take the goal out of it, realistically now the Tip have got the 2 points that they've probably have cancelled it out. They probably deserve that lead that they have, and probably even a little bit more.
Absolutely, they probably do. And as you said, the goal really did come literally against the run of play. It was Tip on an attack from their half back line. They were turned over in the middle of the field, and Kilkenny did well to work the ball up to Gall, who had been unmarked when Tip had been looking to go on the attack. So, did well, Kilkenny, all right. And as we said, as champions do, found a way. But certainly a lot of questions being asked of them, and Tip are providing all the answers at the moment. As I said, they're playing with the confidence that you would expect All Ireland champions to be playing with. And as I said, happy to play the ball around the middle of the field, wait for the right person to get it and get the right ball into their attack then. So as I said, Tip really in the ascendancy here at the moment, and disappointed to have conceded that goal, because they probably do deserve to be that little bit further ahead on the scoreboard.
Now, we're looking at 3 players down here from a Kilkenny setup, of course, that you would expect to see out. Well, we know Katie Power is on the way back from injury. Colette Dormer was due to start a dozen. She's down below us here. Lydia Fitzpatrick replaced her. Claire Phelan, obviously a bit of a loss as well. But it's not... They would be a loss, any team, don't get me wrong. But it's more the forward issues that seems to be a problem for Kilkenny here today. Yeah,
Tip seems to be able to come out with the ball with just that little bit less pressure on them maybe, and maybe just not the work rate from the Kilkenny forwards is maybe something that Brian Dowling and his management team will want to assess in that from that first half. The ball is coming out a little bit too easy, and not only is it coming out, but it's allowing Tip to come out and to build from the back. A lot of Tip scores, if we were to look back on them, have been balls that have been built from the back. There was one from Anya Slattery out this side of the field, a lovely cross ball across to Caught Van, and a score from Caught on the right hand side. And Tip have been able to have the time and the composure on that ball, and I suppose it's something that Limerick didn't give Kilkenny last week. Limerick were in Kilkenny's face, they didn't allow them settle on the ball, and it's Tip this week that seem to be doing it, and they seem to be the ones that, as I said, are playing with all the composure and all the experience. But as you mentioned, 3 big players for Kilkenny there, not alone from a hurling point of view, but from experience, I suppose, from having been in league semi-finals, league finals, All Irelands. They'd be 3 massive players to lose from a field, from the play. So as it stands now, Brian obviously anxious to get those girls back on the field as quick as he can. Obviously not today, but certainly for a league final to come through today, and definitely for championship down the line.
If you're looking at it then from a Tip point of view, Bill Mullaney is obviously quite happy. The play, the ball, the type of ball that's being played into Caught Van. The last day it wasn't all about Caught. Today it probably is a little bit that an awful lot of ball is falling for her as she's hitting from play and also from frees. But you'd be impressed with Roisin Howard, her bit of play. We've had a couple of scores from Nicole Walsh and Emer McGrath, but they just seem to be gelling that little bit better today than Kilkenny are.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's really manifests itself around the middle of the field. And as I said, I can't overstate enough the confidence of them, the composure of them coming out of that half back line. And like we all know, Caught Van is an unmarkable forward. Like, she is probably one of the best forwards in the country, and the difference I suppose today is that Tipperary are able to give her in that quality ball. They're able to get that good ball into her, and it's the right ball at the right time. Into the player in the better position. But as I said, it's all coming from building at the back, and if you're Tip, you want to keep that going, and you want to see the composure of Mary Ryan coming out through the field, working the ball out through the lines, and getting that good ball into that full forward line, because Tip know what they're capable of.
We just see the five boys there having a fairly animated conversation. What's in their head now with the, going to call in the girls here now as they're all getting the refreshments, everything like that? What's the call now at this stage? Because Cottavan, as you said, it seems to be unmarkable at the moment, but they're going to have to either cut off the supply or mark her twice, I would say.
Yeah, and I think it's the cut-off supply option is the best option because, as we said, God is unmarkable, but, put 2 players on her and you're looking at the likes of Grace O'Brien, Clona McIntyre inside there, 2 speedy forwards that we know are well capable of getting goals as well. So it's the supply out the field that I think Kilkenny really need to work on, and getting a foothold maybe in that middle of the field. As you said, Roisin Herod has been on ball time and time again. Sarah Friday really, really busy around there. And even Aoife McGrath, Mairead Evison from the back pushing up, and it's that huge composure. But you can see what happened on that occasion when they did break down that tip attack and they did turn it over, and Denise Gall found herself in space. They managed to get up and get a penalty and claw their way back into this game that they really had been out of. So I mean, that's what Brian Dowling and his management team will want more of, is a huge work rate from that Kilkenny forward line and not allow Tip the momentum to build from the back.
Just watching that penalty incident again then as to why it was given, you could see Aoife McGrath. I know, David, if we can just go back again and just watch it, you see on the run in, as you rightly mentioned, there was a right call of the penalty from John McDonough in that Aoife McGrath, and just let's see how many kind of flicks she gets. There's one across the body, there's a second one across the body, and another one then maybe onto the elbow. That's obviously what he was seeing in real time. He was happy enough to give the penalty, and you feel it's a right call.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt about it. I think once McGrath knew that Denise Gall was inside her, she'd worked really, really hard to get back to her, but she was never going to get back far enough to dispossess. And
it was never going to be missing that penalty either, because Anya Slattery took a kind of a step that way, and I think that makes up Denise Gall's mind then.
Yeah, and Denise Gall, a rocket of a shot anyway, with top spin on them, as we saw in last year's All-Ireland final, but also so well able to place them, and a left-handed striker, lovely able to put that across into the corner, and you could nearly see it and read Anya Slattery's mind when she thought, well, I'm gone the wrong way here, and as I said, Denise right into the corner, and a super penalty again, and really gives Kilkenny a lifeline in a game that maybe they don't have any right to be in.
The views there of Elaine Aylward. Then it is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 semi-final. It's live from UPMC Nolan Park here in Kilkenny City, but it is the Cats. Well, they have a little bit of a thorn in their paw at the moment, because Tipperary and Cottavan are really taking it to them. But with the breeze behind the Cats, maybe the sun on their back as well, we'll wait and see what the second half produces. But here at half time, as we take a break for a short few moments, it is Kilkenny 1-3, but it is Tipperary Bill Mullaney's side 11 points.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings, and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
We want the new personal best. Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.
And you're welcome back to UPMC Nolan Park. I don't know if we get an opportunity to zoom in on the Tipperary number 20. Just coming into play there is Orla Dwyer. Of course, Orla fresh from her exploits with the Brisbane Lions. Orla is on the field of play, and it looks like she's in for Clodagh McIntyre. She got to play for the Tipperary Lady Footballers yesterday as well, Orla. So, busy weekend for her, and she's only back from her fantastic year with the Brisbane Lions.
She's climatised after the weather in Callan last weekend.
Absolutely.
She's back up to pitch, you know.
And did we say there's a change, I think, on the Kilkenny setup as well?
Yeah, Laura Murphy in for Lydia Fitzpatrick in the middle of the field.
So ball might break. Miriam Van Brick, but it's picked up over there by Sarah Friday. So Tip lead by 11 points to 1-3 as this ball is sent in long and across here, looking now for Orla Dwyer. First opportunity as she takes a shot off her left, looking in. Maybe she was trying to find Grace there, or maybe have the shot off, but it's her first shot on a Camogie field then in a competitive action in 2021. Heavily strapped right knee there. A confirmation of that change, but not the Tip one just yet as the ball breaks. Kilkenny needs something to start happening for them now quickly as Murphy plays this ball in, and it might just come about for them now. Here's an opportunity, maybe accruing here for Aoife Doyle. Referee says that's going to be a free in, and a little bit more purpose there. Mary Ryan taking no prisoners though.
Yeah, and I think Mary just unlucky to have the ball beat her behind her, and Aoife Doyle at the speed that she was on in quick, and Mary maybe just to get the flick back in, but obviously took her down. And I think from a Tip point of view they'll be glad. I think it was just outside the white line.
I think Mary saw the white line coming, with the referee is convinced that that's a yellow card against, and it probably is more a yellow card than one we saw earlier, but yellow card in for Mary Ryan. Coming here after 34 minutes, 2 minutes of the second half. Denise Gall was probably the easiest one she's had so far. She got one in the first minute that got us up and going. She's one in the second minute of the second half, added to a goal that she had as well. And from a Kilkenny point of view, they'll be happy with the start.
Yeah, and that's the start they would have needed. And I suppose Brian Dowling would have asked for his team, but they did get the first score of the first half as well, and Tip did take over again. So, the next couple of minutes now will be vital for both teams.
So Clodagh McIntyre, as you hear there, replaced them by Orla Dwyer. What do we call Orla Dwyer? She's not even a dual star anymore. Triple star, is that what you can say? As the Mary O'Connell picks the ball over on the far side, looking to play this ball in. This would be some score if she got it. Nod from the umpire. What an audacious effort from Mary O'Connell.
Yeah, and audacious was the word that was coming to my mind. Absolutely no right at all to even take the shot from there, let alone score the shot, and looked to have been blocked as well. But fantastic score, and definitely a better response from Brian Downing's charges since half time.
Yeah, two on the bounce then they come, and Mary O'Connell, I think David, you'll want to pin that one and mark it out for a score to be shown, as it's a fine effort indeed from Mary O'Connell. Got 6 against Offaly, got a goal against Limerick. And maybe the Cats now taking a little bit of a fight here, that Tipperary will be in a battle for the rest of the game. It's Mary Ryan playing it up to Sarah Friday, looking to step inside Dealey. Friday looking to hold her off, keeping it on the end of her hurling. She's still going. Sarah Friday bursting forward now, coming in a diagonal, looking to pop a lovely pass here. Could work out for them as they play, linking up with her cousin Arena, but the ball is cut out, and it's going to be a chance to clear here now for Kilkenny, who definitely seem to have tightened it up here at the back. I'm just noticing, Elaine.
Yeah, definitely, and Tip not finding the same amount of space that they were allowed in that first half, and definitely not allowed to play the ball around as confidently as they were.
Gall over towards Miriam Walsh over on the far side now, has a shout inside if she wants. Elects to come in and give it a shot off, but it wasn't really going to work there. But Katie Nolan, in fairness, has got in and disrupted. Emer Lockman has won the ball back. Chance for Doyle. Oh, just Kennedy got in there. Slattery has to be mindful to get that ball and come out with it. It's a flick out here, might work out. Emer Lockman looked to take it on the fly. It's been picked up by Murphy. Murphy looking to recycle it back. Could it be 3 from 3 from a Kilkenny point of view? No, getting out there and trying to disrupt matters as much as possible was Mairead Evanston, trying to block it off, but it might work out here now. Kilkenny have a little bit of an overlap. Nolan goes for the score. It's 3 from 3, and that's a good response.
Yeah, super response from Kilkenny, and working a lot harder in that forward line now. Tip not allowed out with the ball as easily as they had been in the first half, and when you're pinning them back into their own half the field, you're always creating chances for yourself. And that half block there was enough for Katie Nolan to get a chance in, and opted for the point, but quite possibly a goal on the cards either.
So now it's a right battle. It's 11 points for Tip, 1-6 for Kilkenny. Kilkenny have got 3 in 3 minutes, and Gall has to gander up, and she puts this ball down into the corner now, looking for Doyle on the run. Doyle got a fine score in the first half, shortens the grip and then swings it out with a big underhand style across to Murphy, but it's cut out there well by the Tip defence, and it's a good bit of play, and it's out into the hand of Arena Friday playing it down along the wing. It was good play there by Mairead Evanston. Down it goes. Tip, you would feel, probably need a score now just to kind of keep things going in their favour. Grace O'Brien not having the greatest battles or days with Miriam Bambrick over there. Bambrick definitely coming out on top at the moment, but it's won back and kicked back by Orla O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer looking to get away from her marker, shrugs off the attentions of Niamh Deely, looking to get inside, being urged on, but she's being accused of steps, but the ball is still with O'Brien. O'Brien has got back up off the ground and gets forward, and that was all down to Orla O'Dwyer.
Yeah, good response from Tip, and Orla O'Dwyer did really, really well to draw the couple of Kilkenny players, but again had the runners coming off her shoulder, and Grace O'Brien got on the end of it, but a really well worked score from Tip and a good response.
Good bit of soccer play here by Aoife McGrath to try and keep that ball after she had lost her hurl, but eventually the referee decides that it was a free for Kilkenny, and I imagine Denise Gall is going to come out and take this, and the breeze will be behind her coming from the city end of the ground as we look out at the plains of County Kilkenny and into neighbouring counties. Up to our left hand side, we're high above the ground in the gantry, well up over Denise Gall here. She has this shot from the 65, has got a bit of top spin on it, but unfortunately I think that took it away from the goal a little bit, and it's gone out to the right and wide.
Yeah, poor wide from Denise. One she'd be disappointed with, was well within her range, but just well off target, and I suppose a let off for Tip.
Tip have got on the scoreboard though with Grace O'Brien after Kilkenny hit 3 on the bounce, is coming out here now and trying to help out and win that ball out there. Julianne Burke and Aoife McGrath linking up. Ball is in behind the fence. Friday is trying to get up there and get involved, but it's Grace Walsh is back there and clearing the house over to the far side of the field. Ball might break then, trying to get across now and cut this ball off is Karen Kennedy. Karen was on from the start, of course. Mary O'Connell tried to be a little bit too masterful with it to get it to Nolan, and probably could have sent it in longer. Ball is cleared by Friday over here to the far side of the field now, trying to put the head down and getting back and win this ball, and that looked like a foul committed there. Grace Walsh going for that ball. Caught Van came across, and I think we just watched that again. Yeah, Cott was a little bit hard in on Grace Walsh there, and the referee has come across to talk to Cott. I'm not sure even that was maybe a yellow card considering some of them, but he said there was a swipe across, so maybe so. It was a hard enough challenge, and we'll give John the benefit of the doubt on that one. Yellow card for Cott Van. And that comes after 38 minutes of action here. Cott Van, who scored 8 points in that first half out of Tip's 11. They've got 1 in the second half. They were 11 points to 1-3 ahead, but they're now 12 points to 1-6 as Grace Walsh, the nurse based in Dublin, a lady that had quite a busy year with COVID and everything, as you can imagine, as a frontline worker, is up on her feet though and going again. Brian Dowling urging his crew. He's telling it's not a sideline. I think that's what Emma Kavanagh thought, and he's urging Emma Kavanagh to come out and take this. Miriam Bambrick going off to cover the goal. So Emma Kavanagh putting it down and about to take it. Emma, of course, was an all-star goalkeeper in 2016. Now there's all sort of messing going on. I don't know what went on there. Emma came out. Referee is confusing matters, I think, is he?
Yeah, I think everyone is confused. I'm not sure if anyone knows. I did hear Cott Vance mention to him that Emma Kavanagh was using the goalie's hurley, but I don't. It's a free I've never seen or heard of anyway.
Yeah, I don't see any. I've seen goalies come out and take frees before with the goalie's hurley, have you not?
And sure, every pocket she take or every free she takes from in around her square will be taken with the same hurl. So I'm not sure if that was the issue, but he's obviously not a fan of Emma Kavanagh's free taking.
Mary Ryan having a battle with Miriam Walsh now at the moment. 12 points to 1-6 it remains. Ball breaks into the hands though of Grace Walsh, and she finds it over to the far side now, but Karen Kennedy read the bounce well and is going to be there. She's going to be held up by Anya Slattery if she needs. Katie Nolan covering her off, but Kennedy using all her experience takes it down the tight side, but played the ball forward, was fouled after. But now referee, I would have thought it's a free to Karen Kennedy here, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well. She looked to have the momentum going out, and maybe ran into Mary O'Connell, not intentionally, I didn't think on any occasion. I think Mary just stood her ground, and Karen knew it was coming late off the ball and has gone to ground, but he is speaking to Mary O'Connell now.
We're now in the danger, I would think, Elaine. This game was a fine game in the first half, and it's been stop-start now in the last few minutes. We could in danger of ruining it.
Yeah, we haven't had the same flow as it, and as you said, it was hotly contested in the first half, but there hasn't been a foul stroke in it, there hasn't been a bad pull or anything like that, but it's gone very stop-start, and that won't help either team, because, you know, what you want is momentum, you want end-to-end stuff, and we have been treated to a lot of that in the first half, but it has gone very stop-start at the moment, and I suppose maybe Tip would like to get a bit of momentum and get a bit of play going, but as it's stopped, it allows the opposition to reset, I suppose, and stops the quick ball and the quick play that we'd be looking forward to and used to.
Well, we've had 3 yellow cards in the first 6 minutes. Now Anya Slattery is going to come out and take this free. I wonder will Cott tell the referee that she's using the goalie's hurl?
She actually swapped it. She dropped her goalie's hurl just on the edge of the square before she came. So it's obviously something that they're aware of, and Tip maybe that the rest of us are not. But Anya definitely swapped the hurl before she came on that occasion.
Anya Slattery knocks this ball down onto the 45 where underneath it could be an opportunity for Irina Friday. Throws the ball out here. Looking to step back inside. Tip trying to keep it on top, but definitely Kilkenny a little bit more tigerish anyway in this second half, and this game could go either way still yet here. 12 points to 1-6, ball breaks, and it's Deely that comes out with it. Can't miss Niamh Deely. She wears a black and a white helmet, bit different to some of the others that are out there. With Mary Ryan, you won't miss her anyway. Comes up along the wing, her definite style. Little bit of a dicey pass to give Julianne Burke, but it's a little bit tight now, and all of a sudden Tip have gone back into a shell a little bit, or is it all of a sudden Kilkenny have taken the game to them?
Yeah, I think it's probably a combination of both, but definitely Kilkenny's forward work rate has upped an awful lot in this second half, and that's stopping Tip coming out with that ball, and it's slowing things down, but it's exactly what Kilkenny and what Brian Dowling would have looked from his team at half time, is to up that work rate, especially in that forward line. Here
goes Roisin Howard then. As I said, a girl that's playing 2 games in 24 hours. Playing the ball off here now to Sarah Friday. Friday looking to deliver it long. When we're on that, better mention and give a shout out to Megan Tyne, the Meath Camogie player. Some phenomenal performance she did yesterday. She tried to do the best for both her teams. She got to play ladies football, played one half of it for the Meath ladies. They went on, I believe, to reach the league final. She hopped in her car, was driven 70 kilometres from Cavan to Inishkeen, and played the second half of the Camogie match for Meath against Antrim, and unfortunately didn't work out for her, but I think she has to get a shout out, Elaine, because that's a phenomenal effort within 3 hours that you did all that.
Yeah, phenomenal, and a lot of our dual players this weekend have been in that position, you know, Roisin Howard here, Megan Tyne yesterday. We'll see some of the Cork girls later who are in that position, and I suppose it just goes to show the athletes that they are and the contribution they make to both our games, to the ladies football and to the Camogie.
All over on the far side where Laura Murphy was involved, and some people are not happy with the linesman's decision over there, and it's getting a little bit tetchy, isn't it?
Yeah, there was bits of it in the first half. We sensed it in different areas around the field, but it's definitely upped the intensity in the second half, and as you said, a couple of little niggles around the field, and I suppose maybe the referee and the stop-start nature is not helping to it. It's allowing these kind of rucks and things develop, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of bite, and you know, this is a contest you'd be looking forward to seeing maybe later in the championship as well.
Michaela Keneally is coming off, and Steffi Fitzgerald is going to come in. So Steffi Fitzgerald from Young Ireland's is on, and Michaela Keneally is off. So a different kind of tactic, I'd imagine, with Kilkenny now. Michaela will be quite a physical, robust player and has caused problems. I'd imagine Steffi's going to bring something different as she's on this ball straight away. Ran into a little bit of space now, looking to take the ball to the Tip defence. She's done very, very well. Steffi Fitzgerald, this will be some start, but the ball breaks away, and it's Mary Ryan that reads it and pops the ball out here now to Howard. Howard is Sarah Friday if she wants, but elects to come over here to Nicole Walsh. We need a score in this game, really, just to kind of get us back talking about scores. Ball played by Nicole Walsh, breaking down though. Might work out from a Tip point of view. Oh, caught the van. That was... looked a little bit high, not sure if maybe the hurl was pulled back though as well. There's a battle going on between her and Davina Tobin in there, and there's Karen Kennedy maybe brings a little bit of normality to occasion, looking to slalom her way through, goes left and right, giving it to Friday. Friday has Walsh is inside the 45, back to Sarah Friday on top of the D, could offload it, still going Sarah Friday. This will be some score. Sarah Friday started it and finished it.
Yeah, you wanted a score, and what a quality score to get right from the middle of the field from Tipperary. Worked really, really hard, but they could sense there was something on, and they frustrated Kilkenny coming out with that ball. Don't think you can underestimate the impact Karen Kennedy has had on the game here. She's been on the end of a lot of those Kilkenny attacks, has got in the important little snigs and the little touches that have just broken up the Kilkenny momentum and swing it around towards tip and direction, and see Sarah Friday getting on that super score.
And Sarah Friday has just been called ashore. Obviously they feel that they just want a little bit of fresh leg now, because Sarah is giving it all, and only back, of course, really getting the games behind her here in the last few games of the league. And she's been replaced by Eva McCarthy from Knockavilla Kickham's. Now on to 13 points to 1-6. This is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 semi-final, and it has had everything in this encounter so far, on a gorgeous day at UPMC Nolan Park in Kilkenny City. The Cats Trail, the All-Ireland champions, up against the league finalists last year who never got to play that final, and that irks Tipperary that little bit. They've one hand and 1 foot into 2021 version as this shot comes in from distance, but it goes out to the left and wide. Chance there gone a begging for Steffi Fitzgerald, who's been busy since she came in.
Yes, 2 possessions straight away from the time she's come in and got a shot off, and the previous one was just blocked. So, a real busy player, fast, speedy player inside there, and maybe Kilkenny looking to just exploit some of those tips. Tiring legs coming into the final home run.
Yeah, into the final home run. We take a water break, Elaine. Let's take a 30-second break ourselves just to recuperate from that stop-start beginning to the second half. But it is Tipperary that lead by 13 points to 1-6.
Our game's about style. We forge our own path forward. Because our style is substance.
So there you have it, the Tipperary crew breaking away from their water break. I'd imagine Bill Mullaney is quite happy with now, the next 15 minutes. You would feel in some ways vital for their season and this team in some ways.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest point they've come to in the season now, that it's do or die for them from here. As we said, didn't produce it against Cork maybe on the first day out, wouldn't have been overly concerned about it. Recovered then, and said, got the wins where they needed to along the way, but this is probably the big test, and they're ahead coming down into the home straight. This will be huge for their season, how they react to being ahead, and if they can finish out a game and, as I said, beat the reigning All-Ireland champions, it would be a massive win for them.
So Kilkenny had that win in the first part, 3 points to 2. They led that puck out straight away from Anya Slatt, who was heading towards Aoife McGrath. Steffi Fitzgerald comes in on it. Steffi's been quite busy since she came on, but that is a recovered scenario by Aoife McGrath that forced her to hit that wide.
Yeah, poor wide from a Kilkenny point of view. Probably did well to turn over the puck out in the first instance, but be disappointed not to have gotten something out of it.
Steffi unfortunately has had 2 wides now in a few minutes as Tip a little bit too tight with it, coming out with it, whether it's McGrath, the joint captain, giving it off now to Karen Kennedy back in the side, of course, after the Wisdom Tooth extraction, and she's playing quite well here, trying to find Devan and Tobin having a right ding-dong battle out there. Tobin seems to win this one, looking to get out. Devan has to be careful, she's on a yellow card. Tip don't want to be without her for the final quarter. There can be nothing sly or any other way given here in this game, as Nicole Walsh gives this ball off now, and the opportunity to get forward. Quiva McCarthy, not long on the field of play, steps inside, tried to find Orlo Dwyer, is on since half time. The Brisbane Lions Premiership player that won the Premiership title, of course, down in Australia, back playing both ladies football and camogie this weekend for Tipperary as the ball breaks, and Steffi Fitzgerald back in that game and doing an awful lot here at the moment, trying to play the ball inside, trying to find Aoife Doyle, but it's well taken away by Mary Ryan. Lovely little nonchalant pass out to Roisin Howard, also a lady played dual action this weekend, playing it across the field to her dual compatriot in Orla Dwyer, as we call her triple now, of course, because she's playing ladies football, Aussie rules, as the ball breaks inside. An opportunity to have a shot off for Tipperary's number 10, and that of course is Emer McGrath, and that's a fine score, and it might just settle Tip.
Exactly, a great score for Tipperary, and you said every point they have now, they know that Kilkenny are going to have to get one if they can stay going without conceding a goal at the back. You know, they'll keep the scoreboard ticking over, and hopefully that'll be enough to see Tip to the end.
Miriam Walsh going to have a shot off, but it's gone to the left and wide, and these chances, you know, eat into Kilkenny's confidence.
Yeah, and a little bit of lack of composure there from what you would expect from All-Ireland champions. You know, poor shot from Miriam there, one previously from Steffi Fitzgerald, who's had 2 wides since she's come on. So a couple of little wides, couple of little uncharacteristic errors for Kilkenny, and from a Tip point of view, they'll be hoping to punish.
Here comes Orla Dwyer. Is this her first opportunity to get a point in this game? No, she had a bad wide. I suppose it wasn't even maybe a shot, I would have called it the early stages, but she's pulled that one out to the left and wide. This opportunity is gone a begging for Orla Dwyer. And the score remains, as you can see on our pictures here, 14 points to 1-6. The Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 semi-final between Tip and Kilkenny. And don't forget, coming up in 3 hours' time. It seems a long time away. I'd imagine both teams are on the road at this stage. Cork and Galway, they'll be here in UPMC Nolan Park, and we will be too. So if you haven't had enough of Camogie action for this cracking encounter, I expect another cracking one coming up at 5 o'clock. Join us from around 4:45 live on the Littlewoods Ireland GAA Twitter account and the Camogie Association YouTube page. As Orla Dwyer gets away from Grace Walsh, takes a crash ball in though, and looked like she fouled the ball there. And it's going to be a Kilkenny free. Megan Farrell stood her ground. Referee said that Orla Dwyer ran straight into her. So free for Megan Farrell. 14 points to 1-6. Tip, last year's finalists who didn't get to play the final. As we said, 1 foot in the 2021 version. Played that ball forward, Megan Farrell trying to find the hand of Aoife Doyle, but it's cut out. Low ball played by Aoife McGrath, trying to find Roisin Howard, but Miriam Walsh coming into the game. Takes a hit there, and not a whole lot. I think she just turned into Orla where Orla had planted herself, and it just, Miriam I think felt it. Don't know, you can pick back up on that, but Miriam Walsh is down receiving attention, and I'm not sure that's a yellow card offence, Elaine.
No, I'll have to see it again, but it looked to me 2 players competing for the ball, and Miriam spun around maybe and made contact with Orla Dwyer, but there hasn't been a malicious. We had 5 or 6 yellow cards here today, and no malicious stroke in the game. So you know, it's a head injury. The game needs to be stopped, and there needs to be attention gotten for Miriam Walsh. But I don't think there's any malice in the foul, or I don't think there's a need to be dishing out yellow cards.
Well, to me, not defending any of them. Miriam Walsh had the ball. She turned up. Orla Dwyer just happened to be in that area. She ran into her more than anything else. It was heavy tussle. Not a whole lot Orla Dwyer I think could do, but referee is judging the yellow card. It's a free that Denise Gall is going to have a shot off it, and I think we see change for Kilkenny.
Yeah, Sarah Crowley from Munkain on for Aoife Doyle from Piltown.
And Aoife Doyle not overly happy with that as Denise Gall puts the ball over the bar, and Kilkenny need another little bit of a fire under them, don't they?
Absolutely, and even as Denise was standing over that free to take it, you know, there was a bit of trepidation. Was she going to drop it in around the goal? And I suppose that if Kilkenny were dropping ball in, it's probably in on Denise. You'd want it in there, or maybe on Michaela Walsh, who has already been substituted. So when no option came, Denise went for the point and popped it over, and maybe Kilkenny happy enough that maybe they still have a good 10 minutes on the clock that they can claw it back. But I suppose disappointingly from Brian's point of view is the scoring that Kilkenny have gotten today.
Opportunity to play this ball inside. Hoban though looks like she's won out this one, and she uses a bit of pace to get out and beyond. And Davina still going. This is some run, Davina Tobin, and then she's hit late. I think now that would be more of a challenge of a yellow card. I think that one compared to the one previous.
Yeah, and Davina probably knew the foul was coming in, and Roisin Howard probably had her lined up. So Davina had done a huge job, I suppose, to come out from defence, leaving Orla Dwyer in her wake, and just laid off the pass at the last stage, and Roisin Howard carried the shoulder forward through into the chest, and I don't think she can have any complaints about that.
No, I think she's deserving of that yellow card, and we'll get that one right.
And credit her, I don't think she put up any protest either. I think she knew herself she was happy to take it, maybe to stop the Kilkenny momentum.
And Grace Walsh has run her race. She's been replaced by number 19 Aoife Prendergast. as Denise Gall has this strike off, puts it over the bar, and she's got 2 on the bounce.
Yeah, and I suppose worrying time for Tip now. They'll want a response from this. Kilkenny look to be faltering. Maybe the couple of subs have made a little bit of an impact. A couple of fresh legs up there, and suddenly 2 frees, and this just get back within touching distance.
Nicole Walsh now out in front as Grace Walsh, as we said, has been replaced. But Grace, third enough time, middle of the field there. I just see her coming off, big red face. You can imagine all of them, including ourselves, after the weather here today. It's just helter-skelter.
Yeah, Grace had a really, really strong opening half, and I suppose just the legs maybe started to falter a little bit there in the last couple of minutes, and that's what you have a bench for, and that's what you have players on the bench for, especially on a day like today. You need to get fresh legs in there, and you saw the impact that Steffi Fitzgerald had when she went in there, being able to get on a couple of balls. So Brian will be hoping that Aoife Prendergast can stem up around the middle of the field now for Kilkenny and maybe push on and give Kilkenny another couple of chances up front.
So Tip haven't had too many chances in this second half. This would be Cottevan's first point of the second half as she puts it over, sends it on its way, and that's a big score.
Massive score, massive score at any time from out in the 65, massive by nature, but also massive in the context of the game and in what Tip really needed. And now they've won the puck out again and go on the attack again.
And it just probably worked for Tipperary that the breeze has dropped significantly there, as here's Stefano, opportunity to get inside, referees caught back for the original free, and this is a good response from a Tipperary point of view. Yeah,
it's a time in the game, I suppose, that there'll be real questions asked. As we said, Kilkenny would have been the favourites, probably coming in reigning All-Ireland champions. Tip have led them for a lot of it, and the finish line maybe just in sight. And Kilkenny get a couple of handy frees maybe to tip over to get it back in. But look, the experience of Cottevan there, threw over that massive free and drew the foul now, and another chance for her just to stretch Tip's leads again.
As you said, they turned over the puck out, and that resulted in this free. The Cottevan has another opportunity. Now she's got 2 in quick succession. She answers the 2 that came from Denise Gall. Always handy to have a place ball specialist in your setup. Denise Gall with 2 in 60 seconds, and then Cottevan has had 2 in 60 seconds for Tipperary, and they now wipe out that scenario where it was back to a goal. It's now going to be a 2-score game for Kilkenny. 6 minutes remaining. You wouldn't back against them getting goals, but Cottevan out in front of Tobin there, but well played as well. Helped out by Megan Farrell as this ball knocked forward. Will it be Kilkenny relying on championship action then for a bit of silverware this year? Will they go back into camp and reflect on matters as they prepare for a busy championship campaign that has seen them drawn in Group 3 with Galway? Galway, of course, coming up against Cork at 5 o'clock. We'll know an awful lot more about both of those sides after that. As this ball breaks now, Kilkenny needing to go to the well. Laura Murphy coming onto it. Lovely little pass out here to Gall. Gall, would she think about goal? No, she might tap it over the bar. She thought about goal! Was that a miss hit, or was she thinking of just knocking it in there? See what happens.
She was thinking of putting that in under the crossbar. She knew she was probably too far out to go for a pile driver, but speculative enough shot, and the power that she gets behind them. Anya Slasher will be disappointed that she went for that one with her hand rather than the hurl.
Ball down the far end of the field. As I was writing my notes there, caught the van. And that's, where a giant captain steps up after the concession of that goal.
Yeah, and there's a huge response from her. And to be fair to her, she has been frustrated for long periods the second time in there and is having a tough day on Davina Tobin with Megan Farrell for company as well. But like you said, when the need was the greatest, she stood up there and got a crucial point.
Here's a goal in between the sides again. Here's an opportunity. Katie Nolan, 1-1 with Slattery. The Cats are only ever beaten when they're on the bus on the way home. It's 17 points to 3-8. They've got 2 on the bounce. At one stage, Tip at a 5-point lead. It has been wiped out here.
Yeah, and like we said last week, champions find a way, and certainly if it looked unlikely this week, it looked twice as unlikely today. And credit to I think substitute Sarah Crowley got on that ball and got it into Katie Nolan inside and finished really, really well.
Well, the subs have brought a little bit of revitalisation to this Kilkenny set up. Mary Rindo denies that. Karen Kennedy coming again. It'll show character in this Tip side now. Nicole Walsh looking to spray this ball wide now. Ball over the far side. Will the bounce hop well here from McGrath? Being tracked all the way over on that far side. Got to be careful in there. Michelle Tehan. Ball is back out here to Arena Friday. Going to have a shot. Friday puts it over the bar. Big score for Tip.
And again, another huge response from one of their real leaders on the field, Arena Friday, and really clever, really well worked score again from Tip, and it's helter-skelter here now for the final few minutes.
Kavanagh targets Gall underneath it, being tracked all the way by Everson. It's a free, and you can hear the Kilkenny bench down here below us urging on. Denise Gall, this is a big one for Gall here. Not sure the wind behind her, who's going to take this. As Niamh Deely was talking about, no, I don't think there's going to be any question. It's going to be Gall. She's stolen about a yard already as John had McDonough had turned these back, and so the linesman down here in front of us.
And the fourth official, if she gets away with it in front of the tree, she deserves the yard.
18 points to 3-8. This to level it up. Denise Gall, long range effort down into the far end. This is over the bar. Denise Gall has pulled it out of the fire again.
Absolutely, to add to that super goal from a few minutes ago, but you knew from the minute it left her stick, you could see Anya Slattery looking up, tilting the head back, knew it was going over her crossbar, and as you said, some real questions being asked to Tip here now.
Lovely ball by Slattery, though, in fairness. She found Nicole Walsh. Walsh got inside Gall, and the ball is flicked up along the side here now. Going to be a big few minutes from both sides. McGrath to O'Dwyer. Can she be a hero? O'Dwyer puts it up high in the clouds. It's dropping high. It's dropping over the bar. Orla O'Dwyer announces her return in 2021.
Yeah, her third shot at goal, and they gradually came in closer and closer, and that one, while still close to that left upright, did just dip under it, and a huge score again for Tipperary. It's end-to-end stuff here now.
19 points for Tip, 3-9 for Kilkenny. In all money, it's 19 points to 18. There are 2 minutes remaining. It's a cracking encounter at the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 semi-final. Hope Cork and Galway live up to this as this ball is out into the middle, looking to be delivered long now, looking for Cot Devan up against Tobin. This has been a right battle all afternoon. Tobin wins this time. She gets away from Devan, offloads it to Kellyanne Doyle, has had a big game too. Ball is dropped down. Katie Nolan, what a big part she's had to play in this. Ball is off down. Opportunity here now. O'Connell got a fine effort from this side of back at early stages of the first half. Gets a flick inside. Going to be taken in control now. Steffi Fitzgerald looking to come inside. Taken down. Going to be a free in, you'd imagine. No, referee allows the play to continue. How that wasn't a free in. Ball breaks, still going. He thought about it and changed his mind. Ball breaks inside the D. Still could happen. Who's going to be able to knock it out? It's Kilkenny that maybe have the advantage here. Tipper in there as well. Its ball is held up, trying to get it off. It looks like it's flying everywhere and anywhere, trying to see who has even got the ball. Difficult opportunity. Kilkenny coming in, and now John McDonough decides it's a free. How the original effort inside wasn't, I don't know.
Yeah, this looked to be a much easier free. I didn't even see the foul in this one. Aoife Prendergast had possession and was going forward, but before that, definitely Steffi Fitzgerald bearing down on the Kilkenny goal, and Karen Kennedy all but rugby tackled her from behind, I think, and referee waved his hands for play on, but a chance now again for Denise Gall, and a easy enough free by her standards.
This game is entering on our clock anyway, injury time, but there could be any amount of time left. You factor the water break, that's supposed to be 2 minutes, but could be anything. Referee, I think, is checking with officials to see was there anything untoward because of the Tip player Mairead Everson that's down in it. Some 4 additional minutes then to be played. So Mairead Everson is okay. I think she might have been just buying her team a little bit of a breather there.
Just a breather, I think, all around for everyone, just to gather themselves again before we come into the final straight here.
Denise Gall puts the ball down and over the bar from that resulting free. The 61st minute then, it's level pegging. 19 points Tip, 3-10 for Kilkenny. Brock down, Mary O'Connell doing very well there, but it's back into the direction here of Howard. Howard, who I'd say as tired as this second half has gone on, having played a ladies football match yesterday. Ball played to the far side though. It's taken into grasp there. Moved on by Julianne Burke, who's a good bit forward. Can't get forward on the ball. It's referee allows the play to continue. Kellyanne Doyle couldn't do anything as Banbury clears. Down a dangerous ball on Gall's head. Being tracked there by Everson. Gall looking to get inside. Everson looked at Fowler. It's going to be a free in. And all of a sudden, Denise Gall has grown into her own, you'd have to say, in this encounter, because her tally of 1-4 in the last 10 minutes has turned this game for Kilkenny.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the scores have been from frees, but she has been putting herself around. You know, she's been at left half forward. She went in full forward when Kilkenny needed a goal, and again, she found herself one-on-one under that ball there with Mairead Everson, and that's a huge battle that's been brewing since early in that first half, so massive implications. But Gall did really well to bring it to ground and to win possession and draw the free, and a chance now again for Kilkenny.
Well, we really were writing the league campaign off for Kilkenny about 8 minutes ago when there were 5 points down, but Gaul will put them a point in front, and that ball has gone over the bar. There's 2 minutes remaining. It's 3-11. That's 20 points to 19 for Tip. Ball over here to Lockman. Lockman a little bit exposed now. 3 black and amber jerseys around her, but Mary Ryan wanted the ball and knocks it up along the wing here now. Looking for a little bit of movement here over Orlo Dwyer. Has to try and kick it forward, but Laura Murphy gets in there and wins it. In there as well, Mary O'Connell has hold of it. Holds off with Dwyer. Plays it one-handed back here towards Megan Farrell. Takes control one-handed and plays it across the field. Lovely ball. Gaul is going to come onto it. Rolls off of Evanston. This could be the deciding of the game now. Gaul wins the free. And all of a sudden, Tip just looked a little bit rattled.
Yeah, and the composure and the confidence I spoke about in the first half, they're being turned over on their own puck outs here now. And look, it's been an energy sapping kind of a game. The day is warm, it's been a real humid day, and the level of the game they're playing at has been really, really tough on the bodies. And you can just see small little mistakes starting to creep in now, where in the first half it was confidence and composure, and the small little mistakes now are just leaving Kilkenny back in the game. And Denise happy to slot over another free.
Denise Gaul, she does it again. Up to the 51st minute, she had only scored a goal and 2 points. And she's now knocking the figures out of the park at the moment. They lead by 2, 3-12 to 19. Tip has scored 19 points and are not winning this game. Ball is inside. Walsh tried to win it. Mary Ryan did that very, very well. Ball out here, out to the middle now. Looking for Karen Kennedy. Something big out of Tip. Tip, you would feel, need a goal now. One last opportunity. Kennedy has to play it down the wing. Ball to nobody though. Ball is going to break and suit Kilkenny. Hard to believe that Kilkenny took some of their players off because of obviously the tiredness every kick in, and they just, I think some of the players, the quality that have come in, some people might question it, but they really have injected a little bit of life into the Kilkenny setup, and they've took it to Tip, haven't they?
Absolutely, huge life, huge energy back into the Kilkenny team there from, as we said, tired legs, and Kilkenny were on the back foot, but the subs have definitely made an impact since coming in, have been involved in a lot of the good things that Kilkenny have done since then.
Davina Tobin did that very, very well to shelter it away from Cot Devan and also Emma Kavanagh. Ball is Roisin Howard playing it inside. 64 minutes gone. John McDonough under pressure to blow it up. Ball is out to the middle. Calls a halt. The Cats have come from the depth to snatch this, you would feel. 3-12 to 19. Tip were on top on that for about 52 minutes of that game. 2 goals in the space of 60 seconds, and Kilkenny are into the final.
Yeah, an absolutely hectic finish to a game. I suppose Kilkenny had tipped along in that first quarter, 3 points, a goal added to it then just before half time, 3 points again in the first half, or in the first water break of the second half, and got to that at 1-6, and suddenly they finished the game on 3-12. So 2-6 in that last quarter, and it wasn't for the one to Tip had a reply for them on every occasion, and scored 6 points of their own, and as you said, 19 points, and to be on the losing end of it, having dictated the game for most of it. But look, a huge win for Kilkenny. I suppose we've said last week after the Limerick game that champions find a way, and they certainly did today, because they did look to be down and out for long stages of that half. It'll be disappointing, I suppose, for Tipperary, because we said today was a massive game for them. They needed to get one over on a big team, and they were in pole position to do that right up until the last few minutes there. But as I said, credit where it's due, and champions find a way, and Kilkenny get out again today.
When you come back to it, did a little bit of injection of new legs in the Kilkenny side, or did Tip maybe legs start to get a little bit leggy as well, the heat, the condition every night? I'm not trying to find excuses here, just trying to find maybe a reason why this game turned, or ultimately is it Denise Gaul taking a little bit of a speculative chance as she did, and Anya Slattery bounces off her hand, it's ending the net, and to get a goal from Katie Nolan quickly after.
Yeah, and that could have been as good an injection of positivity and pace as any of the subs maybe that Kilkenny did bring in, but definitely Kilkenny's work rate upped an awful lot in that second half, and Tip were matching them for long periods of even up until that water break in the second half. But just after that water break, and as you said, the speculative goal maybe from Denise Gaul, or having played against her and with her on many occasions, I'm not so sure that maybe she didn't mean it, but Kilkenny needed something big. They needed someone to stand up and credit her. She stood up with that goal. She stood up for free after that, and won a couple of really, really vital balls. So the likes of Steffi Fitzgerald coming in certainly brought an energy and enthusiasm up front, but they definitely upped their work rate. And as the Tip legs started to tire, then when they were starting to get that pressure put on them at the back, Tip just struggled to win their own pockets and struggled to get out of their own half, and that stopped the great supply of ball that the Tip forwards had been getting in the first half, and ultimately that's where Kilkenny pushed home, I suppose.
Yeah, credit that they at the water break we still reckoned it was just going to be too much for Kilkenny. 13 points to 1-6. But as I said to you, when Katie Nolan's goal went to the back of the net, the Cats are only beaten when you have them on the bus on the way home. And Tipperary, they've learned a huge lesson here now again today, but it's going to be a bit of a dent in their psychological kind of confidence that you said that was here with them today. They were just on the top of the ground in that first half, all the way to the water break, just that little pep in their step. You're thinking, we're 9 minutes from home really now. We have this game, in our grasp, and all of a sudden it just went away from them.
Yeah, and like we said, we spoke about experienced players, and there we see Denise Gall just on the 21, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw her give a sly look and maybe not aiming directly for a low and hard shot, but certainly looked at the crossbar and thought about maybe putting it underneath it. And, a little bit disappointed for Anya Slasher, I suppose, in hindsight, we should obviously have gone for the hurl with it, but just put her hand to it, maybe not realising the power that was behind it. But it was an injection into the Kilkenny Hearts, and it really kicked Denise Gall on from there. It was like it nearly woke her up. She stormed into the game from there to the finish, and Kilkenny did really finish the strongest.
No doubt that they did. Elaine, I'll give you a little bit of a moment there to think about a player of the match, because it might have been leaning one way, it now might have leaned another in the last couple of minutes, as well as we just recount then how things went. The scores at the water break of the first half: 4 points to 3. Tipperary on the bounce with 2 in quick succession, had them in the water break with loads of confidence heading into that second quarter of the first half. In fine fettle, they kicked on and then were to concede a penalty with Denise Gall put to the back of the net, but 11 points to 1-3 with Tipperary were full value for their lead at that point. And even at the water break, despite the fact that it had been very stop-start in that first 15 minutes or so of the second half, it was still Tipperary that were in command at 13 points to 1-6, and they were to push that out to lead by 5 as we entered the 51st minute, 52nd minute, when Denise Gall hit 2 on the bounce, and they were responded to straight away by Cottavan on 54 and 55. However, within seconds then, it was a goal from Denise Gall, then followed up by another one from Katie Nolan moments later. As you can see, Katie Nolan rolling that ball to the back of the net on her screen, and the points from Denise Gall. All of a sudden, Denise Gall went from, as we said, contributing just 1-3 to this game to adding another goal and 4 points in the final stages. She's obviously in the running for your player of the match.
Yeah, certainly. Look, I think there was heroes all over the field today from a tip point of view. I thought Mary Ryan and Karen Kennedy were outstanding in their defence there at the end. You mentioned it in commentary there that they just always seem to be in the right place at the right time, and I suppose that's no coincidence. That's sheer intelligent play and being able to play the outball. Arena Friday and Roisin Howard were busy around the middle of the field, and up front obviously Cottavan had a huge scoring streak in that first half. From a Kilkenny point of view then, I suppose on the opposite, Davina Tobin did a really, really good job on Cottavan for a lot of that second half, and a lot of that was down to the work that was coming in from the Kilkenny forwards out the field. I thought Mary O'Connell tried hard throughout. Katie Nolan was really, really good and added that huge work rate to her game today, and she popped up with a couple of scores and a really crucial goal then at a crucial time. But overall for me, I think Denise Gall was probably the player that when Kilkenny needed it the most. At stages in the first half there, she put up her hand, one vital puck outs from Emma Kavanagh in the goal when things maybe weren't going Kilkenny's way. But certainly there in that second half and certainly in that final quarter, Denise really stood up and showed all her experience. She had the goal from the penalty in the first half, which was obviously outstanding, but in that second half, 1 puck out, 1 freeze, took on her player and ultimately scored that really crucial goal that got Kilkenny back into it. So for me, Denise Gall is today's player of the match.
So we'll hopefully hear from Denise then as we head down pitch side, and we just get one last opportunity then to watch the goal. It mightn't be our last opportunity. You might get to see it before our broadcast finishes. Denise Gall then wins our player of the match as she took on that goal opportunity. I think she had a sneaky look, as she said, at the crossbar. Maybe Anya Slattery was thinking of Miriam Walsh in there as well. Was she going to just pop it into her? But then in two minds and the sun in your eyes and everything like that, ball ends up in the back of the net, and it ultimately swings the game towards Kilkenny, and they win here by 3-12 to 19 points. We're not done with the action. We'll have reaction from both camps, and we'll also hear from Denise Gall. We'll hear from Elaine as well before we finish up on this first semi-final and what has been a cracking encounter. But the All-Ireland champions, they're back in a league final. Their last league title in 2018, well, they'll have a chance to win another one come next Sunday evening, because the Cats have won out here for the moment by 3-12 to Tipperary's 19 points. Rejoin us shortly.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings, and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
You want the new personal best? Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.
Welcome back to UPMC Nolan Park. The man and the face that you see in front of us is Brian Dowling, the Kilkenny manager. Brian, how do you explain that?
I don't know, to be honest. Look, I'll be very honest, I didn't see it coming. We were struggling everywhere, really. Thought different patches maybe after half time we pushed on a little bit, but then Tip got the upper hand on us again. And look, I suppose one thing I say is these girls have huge character, and you know, they don't like losing matches, and we just stayed going. And look, I suppose we found some way to win it there today. I don't know how we did it, but look, players like Denise Gall really stood up there and was counting with a few crucial frees, and you know, and then I suppose you win the free, but then she had to put the ball over the bar as well, which shows, you know, the leader that she is for this team. And you know, look, in fairness to the girls that came in as well, the last couple of weeks have made a huge difference, and you know, that was a big thing as well for us today.
Looking at it, Brian, though, there'll be a bit of soul searching, I imagine, still for you in the next week, I would imagine, because for the good 50 minutes of that game, you know, you were playing second fiddle. Yeah,
look, we were disappointed with our performance today, and last Saturday as well. You know, Limerick probably deserved to beat us last Saturday. You know, Tipper probably the better team today, but look, I suppose it is the league, and obviously we want to keep improving, and look, we know that performance won't be good enough next Sunday night in Croke Park, but look, we're there and we have a lot to learn on. I suppose it's good to be learning while you're winning rather than losing, and look, the league, we said, was to find out more about players, and you know, we're finding out a lot about our players.
Absolutely, and in the conditions that we're here today, some of them had to go to the well. You brought in a bit of fresh legs, and they seem to kind of get a little bit of revitalisation to the forward line, especially. Yeah,
definitely. You know, I think, you know, the heat here is unbelievable. Yeah. You know, it's so sticky, and you know, I think players were out on their feet, and you know, we tried to get in as many fresh legs as we could. We brought in 4 or 5 players there. So look, again, it's always made a big difference, and you know, I just said there's huge character in this team, you know, and you know, maybe that belief has come from last year, but look, we know we're not playing as well. We're not, you know, hitting big scores in games, and that's something that we have to improve on. But look, another week to go now for league final, and you know, we're looking for that, and then look forward to the championship.
Looking at it then, Brian, as well, you know, you're seeing the likes of Katie still rehabbing. Colette was due to start, not Claire Phelan. Will they be in contention for next weekend? Yeah, I hope so. Look, suppose we had a team pick for Thursday night, and we had to make 2 late changes. We had a very light training session on Thursday night, and you know, Claire and Colette got injured in the training session, so we're very unlucky. And look, again, they're huge losses. You know, they've been playing for Kilkenny for many years, and look, Katie Power is getting very close as well. I don't know whether she'll be in action for next Sunday, but look, we're hoping Katie will be 100% by the championship. That's our target for Katie. Well, Brian, I don't know how you did it, but you're in the final anyway on the basis of that performance. Congratulations and best of luck next weekend.
Thank you.
Brian Dowling giving us his viewpoint then on the encounter. And we're going to call in the lady that made it all happen. Denise Gall, you know, I was talking to Elaine up in commentary and saying, did she mean that? But sure, she says no on this one. She definitely meant it. We're talking about the goal, of course.
Oh, I meant to go for it. I didn't mean to hit it that poorly, but luckily enough it kind of went in. I don't know, there might have been a bit of a dip on it, but yeah, look, I was going for the goal, but I'll have to say that anyway.
Well, you're like any good forward, you have to claim the credit on that one. But Denise, looking at matters, something had to happen, a bit of spark had to happen for you, because Tip really put it up to you here today.
Oh, they did. Jeez, they were all over us there in the first half. I don't know, we couldn't get grips of them at all. And we kind of went out in second half and it was kind of much more the same. It was nearly only the last 15 minutes. We kind of took the game to them and we got on top, and we're kind of marking them a bit more tightly. But look, geez, they were savage side and they'll go far in championship. Like, so look, it was another tough game for us last week, the same. So we'll be just hoping to build on it now going in. We'd have to up our performance a lot playing either Cork or Galway. So.
Yeah, because Limerick and Tip now in the last week have put it up to you. But maybe looking at it then as well, it just goes to show you, you know, the benefit of winning All-Ireland last year. There's a bit of character in this team. You definitely don't know when to give up. Yeah,
look, that's one thing, I suppose. We didn't play as good as we'd like to today or last weekend, and the character really shone through in the last few minutes of the game there. And I suppose that's what the league is all about, finding what kind of characters in the group, and the new girls coming in, and the girls that came in there off the bench today made a savage difference as well in the last 10 minutes. So it's great.
Talking about the conditions, was it tough to play in?
Yeah, look, it was tough for both sides, I suppose. It's the same for us both, but obviously we're not used to this heat. But look, it's lovely summer hurling anyway, and you take it over the wind or rain any day. But look, just plenty of water into us now and down to the river to dip the legs. So
I'd imagine, but getting to play it on such a fine surface here in Nolan Park too.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, I suppose. Makes the first touch look good anyway. So
finally then, league final next week. As you said, with 10 minutes ago, you probably thought we'll be looking at it on the television or whatever, but you're going to be there now in a kind of a unique occasion in its own way.
Yeah, look, it's brilliant. Like we kind of said during the week, just the incentive of getting back to Croke Park, and obviously we want to win, but it's not as much pressure as an All-Ireland final day. You know, we want to go up and perform and play as good as we can, and look, hopefully it's a good match with spectators back. It was even brilliant now to have the spectators in there today, and like you could nearly hear the family there or shouting the last few minutes. So look, it all drives us on, and look, it'll be brilliant the next day. So hopefully it's good spectacle for everyone anyway.
Well, thanks indeed, Denise. You're our player of the match. Well done, and best of luck next weekend. That's Denise Gall then giving us her views and opinions on the encounter here today. As you can see, probably just behind her there, you would have seen Bill Mullaney giving his views to some of the waiting media, but we'll hopefully get to hear from Bill in the next couple of minutes. Elaine is still with me here. Elaine, just hearing from Brian and Denise there, they're probably nearly as much in shock as we are.
Yeah, I suppose I said to Brian, if he has any more get out of jail free cards, he probably needs to keep a few of them for championship now. That certainly was a get out of jail. But look, Denise spoke about character there, and it's something that's certainly in that group, and it's obviously a strong character in there, because for many other teams it would have been easy to hang the head there and say, look, that's our league done, but they didn't. Credit to them, and they showed up when they needed to most.
Looking at matters then, we see Bill Mullaney coming across to us here, so we'll have a quick word with him. And thanks indeed, Bill, for joining us. My heart goes out to you a little bit, Bill, because with about 7-8 minutes to go, I was thinking of you getting ready and going to Croke Park next weekend. It just goes to show you that when you play Kilkenny, they can bite you a little bit.
Well, if your heart has gone out to me and you were thinking we were in Croke Park with 6 or 7 minutes to go, I mean, in Nolan Park against Kilkenny, like we weren't thinking that way. I mean, we have to play for 60, 65, 70 minutes or what it takes. Look, I mean, we're bitterly disappointed. And that's all I can say to sum it up. Like, we're very disappointed. But like Kilkenny are All-Ireland champions, you have to beat them, you have to be ahead of them, you have to stay ahead of them, obviously. We didn't. We made a few mistakes, but I thought we responded well in various stages too, and we put them to the pin of their collar as well, and we just didn't see it out probably.
Looking at it, Bill, about the 52nd minute, Denise Gall hits 2 points on the bounce. There's a goal in it, and you respond perfectly with Cotter. Long range effort into that breeze was significant. Then you win a nice little tap over free, and you were thinking you probably have got over the hump a little bit again, but they keep coming at you.
Well, again, like you're thinking that we got over the hump. I never thought we got over the hump, because you just don't. The hump is when he blows the final whistle, and that's it. And that's just true in hurling, camogie, whatever you want to call any other sport. You have to play to the end. You have to see it out. And unfortunately, we didn't. But we played well, and it was a great game, I would say, to watch. Like, I thought it was an excellent game, and I thought there was so much skill all over the field. I mean, it was an advertisement for the sport, for the game as well. I mean, when Kilkenny have savage players like the Walshes, Denise Gall as well, I mean, all over the field. But so do we. Like, I mean, we had Mal Ryan caught, Karen Kendi, Emer Lukeman, Emer McGrath, just all over the field. We worked hard. We had they gave everything, you know what I mean? And you can see by the heads going away and the disappointment that's in it. Like, we came here to win. We were within distance of winning, and we just didn't get there.
Can I just ask, would the conditions have played a part, Bill? You know, was it maybe hard to keep the lungs and the legs going towards the end there?
Well, it was hard for me. I can't imagine what it was like for them. I'm hoarse from walking the sideline as well. I mean, it must have been hard. It was the hottest day of the year. There isn't great relief from the breeze there either. Ground is really good, but it's good and hard and good and bouncy as well. I'd say it took an awful lot out of them, and every one of them should have come off the field, like, dead on their feet, and that's for both teams, and it's a great credit to both sides. In fairness, well done to Kilkenny. And best of luck to them at the final. That's all we can offer at this stage.
Last question to you, Bill, then. Prep now for championship, 5 weeks away, not a whole lot of time to contemplate, and you have to really maybe get over this quickly in some ways.
Yeah, we have to get over it. Hopefully we can learn from it, as I say, and we can battle it and use it again going forward. We have to see games out. But I mean, there's no easy game in the championship. I mean, we play the likes of Offaly, Limerick, Clare, and if you look at the league, and the league is kind of like a championship format this year with the weather, and it was so late. I mean, every one of them are going to be difficult to beat, no matter who you draw. They're a real challenge, and getting to this end of the competition is where we want to be, and we have to get ready for that in 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it is. There's a Munster Championship coming up in 2 weeks as well, and we have to be ready for that.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with it, Bill. Commiserations today, but thanks indeed for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Bill Mullaney, give us his views then on this encounter here this afternoon in UPMC at Nolan Park. Don't forget, we've plenty more action to come. Elaine, I'll get you to come around me here. You can grab that microphone, and we just get one maybe last word on the encounter here. You hear from Bill. He's probably still even a little bit in shock as well. But I know he was saying to me he was never thinking of the Cats beating. I said it in commentary. You really have to have him on the bus on the way home. Whether it's been the men's or ladies teams over the years.
Yeah, definitely. Look, and I think it's probably something that's been lacking maybe in Kilkenny Camogie for a good few years, maybe before they won that All-Ireland in 2016, was a bit of character and a bit of steel maybe to win those games. And I think that's the one thing that Tip maybe will be a little bit disappointed today, that they were there. They had Kilkenny beaten. They mightn't have thought it on the sideline, but they certainly had on the scoreboard, and a little bit more steel, a little bit more composure maybe coming into the home straight, and a little bit of, I suppose, cuteness to finish out the game, and they might have seen it over the line. And I think that'll be the most disappointing thing for them. They're going into championship now knowing that their hurling, their fitness and everything is at the pace of the Kilkennys of this world, but there's still that little something missing that just couldn't get them over the line today, and that's probably the thing that will eke them for a couple of weeks now when they think back on this defeat. Yeah,
because when you consider that they did have let's say Kilkenny's number for 50 odd minutes of that game, you probably would look at it then that maybe again Kilkenny seemed to do a number on a number of their different forwards, in that Caught Van again was the one that had to maybe step up to the mark. They really do, you feel for Tipperary, to really need someone to take that step up to be able to support her ultimately. Grace O'Brien did it against Offaly, but you will really feel when they come up against the top three, they have to have someone else in harness. Yeah, and still in saying that, they scored 19 points today, which is enough to win you like a lot of championship matches. But just today, I think more so even than Caught stepping up, it was the supply of ball that stopped coming in from the middle of the field. Kilkenny got to grips with Tip around the middle of the field, and that stopped that really good ball going in. Like, we saw a lot of ball still going into Caught Van and Davina Tobin, but the quality of the ball wasn't what it had been in the first half, and it allowed Davina Tobin that extra touch or that extra second to dispossess Caught, and allowed Megan Farrell maybe the couple of extra seconds to get back and help, and ultimately that's where the Tip attack faltered in that second half, whereas in the first half they had a timer on the middle of the field. They were able to ping the passes, and the balls going into Caught Van were more 90-10 balls than the 50-50 ones that she had to cope with in the second half. And again, look, it's probably something Kilkenny will be a bit worried about as well. They didn't have a huge spread of scorers today. Denise Gall weighed in with a lot of it. Katie Nolan I think got 1-2 maybe, but other than that the scoring is sporadic enough, and it has been for Kilkenny for the last couple of weeks, so maybe that's something that Brian Dowling and his team will work on for the next day. Yeah, again, I suppose he needs the likes of Colette, Claire, maybe, Katie to come back into the reckoning there, that might free up somebody else then to just focus on maybe taking scores rather than having to maybe cover another position in some ways.
Yeah, and it's experience. I said it at half time, it's huge experience that you're missing from being on the field, and we saw what Denise was able to do today when the game was really in the melting pot and Kilkenny needed someone to stand up. Denise, who has been there for, as I said, been in league finals, been in All-Ireland finals and semi-finals before, and been on the losing end of these games, stood up and put her hand up and said, puck the ball on to me, and got the scores that ultimately counted. And obviously Colette and Katie and Claire Phelan are huge players for Kilkenny as well, and they'll just bring a more settled feel, I think, to the Kilkenny team when they come back into it, and that will allow maybe one or the two of the newer girls to really settle into their positions and not maybe be watching to try and cover 2 and 3 positions when the team is a little bit unsettled still.
So we're still, though, as we head into a league final and the Cats are in it, we're still not sure of the real Kilkenny. Would that be fair enough from this league so far? Yeah,
I think so, and I don't think it's a bad place maybe for Kilkenny to be, or for Brian Downing to be, and maybe hasn't stumbled upon his best 15 yet, or certainly his best 15 in any given position, and yet they're still able to come out. Look, the league is about discovering maybe 1 or 2 players, and as Denise said, seeing what kind of characters you have in a dressing room, and Kilkenny certainly unearthed a few characters this week and last week. Steffi Fitzgerald, when she came in there today, was a revelation, got on her first ball, got a couple of shots off, alright, they didn't come off for her today, but really put herself around there when she came in. And if Brian can unearth 1 or 2 of them to maybe add to Denise Gall, Katie Power, Mary Walsh maybe in the forwards coming into championship, I don't think it will have been a bad league for him. As you said beforehand, they've stuttered a little bit along the way, but they're back in a league final and back in Croke Park next Sunday night.
And finally, a word for Tipperary, as you heard from Bill there. They have a Munster Championship in 2 weeks. They then have obviously the All-Ireland series. They might not be in too bad of a place in lots of ways. It's how they respond from this defeat, when you consider we would have, and I'm sure a lot of people would have felt they needed to put down a marker against one of the top 3, and today was their perfect chance. It's about how they react now, isn't it?
Yeah, and like as we said, they did so many things right today, and they scored 19 points. They went toe to toe with Kilkenny. Their work rate was right up there. Their hurling matched them all over the field, and the result just didn't come off for them. And I suppose that'll be the really worrying thing now. They're probably lucky that they have Munster Championship coming up. It gives them a chance to get back into it and to work on the things. If you had 3 or 4 weeks maybe up to Championship now to dwell on that defeat, it'd probably be the worst thing for you. So look, they'll hurt from that defeat, they certainly will, and I thought it was a huge opportunity for Tip to make that one last massive push forward that I feel Tip Camogie need to make, just in order to, if they could beat one of those big teams once, that maybe they would put themselves there or thereabouts for championship honours. But look, they'll have a chance again. As I said, Munster Championship will come thick and fast at them, and straight into championship. Then there's a tricky enough group that they have in the championship, so they'll have a couple of really good encounters there, and they'll be hoping to get out to the business end of it from there.
Well, we'll see how that plays out for them over the next while. But that's the views of Elaine Aylward. She'll be back with me for the next game, which comes up at 5 o'clock. That, of course, is the second semi-final. It's between Cork and Galway. It throws in at 5 o'clock. Liz Dempsey will be the match official, and we'll be on air from about 4:45 or thereabouts. So if you haven't got enough of Camogie today, and what a cracking encounter it was, an advertisement no doubt about for the game. Kilkenny scoring 3-12, Tipperary with 19 points. If Cork and Galway serve up even, I'd say, half of what was here today, we're in for a right encounter later on. So about 2 hours time, set the alarm. We'll be back on the Littlewoods GA Twitter account, and we'll also be back on the Camogie Association YouTube channel, bringing you the best of the action. But for the moment, thanks to Elaine, thanks to Emma, Shane and to Dave back up in the gantry, it's bye-bye for now.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings, and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
You want the new personal best? Come on, all the way. Yes.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.